So if everyone's ready, we will start. Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, and welcome to the Eco Chef 2030 sub-forum of the Good Food Summit. I am Zhou Jing, the Chief Program Officer of Good Food Fund, CBCGDF. I'm the moderator of this sub-forum. I'm also part of the organizer of the summit. Yesterday, we have the first day conference. We have over 360,000 people hearing and viewing us online. And yesterday, we have talked about the international perspectives and the local practice. We have summarized our previous achievements. We also look forward into the future plan. And we also have announced the project, that is the Meatless Monday. And we were also deeply involved in the process of the UNS Food System Summit. And we have over 200 representatives participating in our activities before, and we have over 1 million people joining our activities. Yesterday, we also have presented the Best Practice Award and the Food Vision Award, and also the Eco-Friendly Award. And by awarding these best practices, we want to encourage the people to join us and share the voices of China to other speakers and the participants. And in the afternoon, we have the discussion about the impact of animal sourced products on the health of the people. And we also have our speakers sharing their opinions about shifting to sustainable consumption patterns, and also how to encourage the consumers to buy the high animal welfare products. And feel free to join us online if my colleagues will have the link of the live broadcasting, and feel free to join us online. Before I introduce Eco Chef 2030, please allow me to give a brief introduction to our Good Food Fund. Good Food Fund is under the CBCGDF, and CBCGDF is one of the earliest public association which is contributed to the biodiversity and green development. Our fund was established in 2017. We are dedicated to the transition to healthy and sustainable food system. Our fund is one of the earliest that pay attention to the transmission to healthy and sustainable food system. And we have a series of pioneering projects to promote the good food for healthy people, healthy planets, and healthy animals. And we are like the pioneers and part of the international community for good food. Our vision is one world, one health. And we hope that we can take the good food to promote the health of the people, the animals, and the planet. So we have a public engagement, research, education, and the public policy, as well as a business engagement. And we also have the Good Food Pledge, that is to promote the sustainable consumption. This is our Good Food Pledge. There are 8 principles, and it's also a framework for our work in the good food area. And the role is similar to the SDGs of the UN. The first principle is plant forward. And then we have animal welfare, healthy eating, and reduce waste. Plant forward means on our dishes, the majority of the food is the plant-based, and the other animal products are produced with a high animal welfare. Next page. So after I introduced our fund, I would like to introduce our forum, that is the Eco Chef 2030 Forum. And our Eco Chef 2030 is the response to the Health China Action Plan 2019 to 2030. We want to propose the reasonable healthy diet, and we encourage the cafeterians and the restaurants to have the professional dietitians and organize the trainings to their staff and offer a balanced and healthy diet. And we focus on the role of the chef, and we hope these chefs can promote plant-forward animal welfare and a healthy diet. And we also hope that the chefs can also have impact on the industry and the investment directions in the next 10 or even 20 years. We noticed that different research have pointed out the healthy diet. In 2016, the Chinese Dietary Guidelines pointed out there shall be less consumption of meat, more consumption of vegetables and fruits. And this is the Eat Lancet report. In this report, it points out that if we want to have the transformation to healthy and sustainable food system, we have to change our diet, change the food structure we consume. And the changes include to increase the consumption and double the consumption of fruit, vegetables, legumes, and nuts. Also, reduce half of the consumption of the red meat and unhealthy sugar-added products. And this is mainly through the reduction in the high-income countries to reduce the excessive consumption. And here is the consumption of the 2019 Eat Lancet report recommendation and the 2016 China Dietary Guidelines recommendations. If you look at the data, that the grains and the meat of the Chinese people are too high above the recommendation limit. And if you look at the vegetables and fruits and the dairies, it's lower than the recommendation. For example, the consumption of the meat is 104 grams per day and is higher than the recommendation of the Lancet report, as well as the Chinese Dietary Guidelines. So we have to make changes to our diet. So back to our EcoChef 2030 forum. In the catering industry, it is heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of restaurants stopped business, and this kind of public health incidents draw our attention to food safety, public health, and the animal products. And the general public start to consider new options of food. For example, we have seen the surge of plant-based products after the pandemic, and the country like China government has the laws and regulations to prohibit the consumption of wild animals. So in this post-pandemic period, we need to have new understanding, new knowledge of food and health and nutrition. And we believe a plant-forward diet, which with the plant-based product, less meat and other animal proteins, can help to overcome the risk of a public pandemic and food safety crisis. And today we have Mr. Dr. Drescher, we have Chef Paul Newman, and we have the project director of Meatless Monday, Dana Smith, and we also have Mr. Zhou Zunguo, and they will share with us the trends in the industry, how to help the chefs to develop, and what are the practice in details in different sectors, and how to promote the healthy diet with plant forward. So first, we have the honor to listen to the international best practice. Our first speaker is Mr. Greg Drescher, the Vice President of Strategic Initiative and Industry Leadership, Culinary Institute of America. And in 2013, Greg, together with the Public Health College of Harvard University, started the Menu of the Change Initiative. Since 2019, Greg has started the Culinary Summit and the Plant Forward internet platform and the PFCI. So please, Greg, you have 20 minutes for a presentation.
Hi, Cecilia. How are you? Very good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Do you have my slides?
Yeah.
Okay.
请放一下他的 slides.
There we go. Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'd like to start by thanking the organizers of this year's Good Food Summit and express my appreciation to Dr. Zhao and Mr. Zhan Yi for the critical leadership of the Good Food Fund, and congratulate the Good Food Fund team on the very deserving international recognition your work has received over the last year. I'd like to start with a very brief background on the CIA, if I could have the next slide. And by CIA, I mean the Culinary Institute of America. Some of you are familiar with our college. This is our main campus in the New York Hudson Valley, just north of New York City. Next slide. The CIA is a private, not-for-profit college offering 2- and 4-year degree programs as well as master's degree programs. And we have about 50,000 alumni working all over the world. Next slide. We have 2 campuses in California. This is the Greystone campus at the north end of the Napa Valley. Next slide. And the Copia campus at the south end of the Napa Valley. We also have a campus in Texas and in Singapore. Next slide, please. I head up a division of the college focused on the food service industry leadership. And by food service, I mean everything from restaurants to the food service operations of schools and universities, the healthcare sector, business and industry, and more. Next slide, please. 4 pillars of innovation drive our work, including a focus on excellence and innovation, global cultural exchange and diversity, health and wellness, and sustainability and food ethics. Next slide. At the heart of what we do, we believe that chefs can inspire positive social change outside of their kitchens, and that's really what this session is all about. Next slide. We activate our strategic platforms through a variety of programmatic, editorial, and media vehicles, some of which I'll discuss today. Next slide. For the past 20 years, we have been working closely with the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health around a series of joint educational initiatives. Next slide. 10 years ago, the CIA and the Harvard Chan School jointly launched our Menus of Change initiative to deploy and develop action strategies at the intersection of public health, the environment, including the climate crisis, culinary innovation, and business insight for American culinary and food service sectors. Next slide. At our website, menusofchange.org, you can view a variety of project resources, including this infographic of our 24 principles of healthy, sustainable menus. Among the most critical principles here is the need for all of us to substantially reduce red meat consumption, including red meat in food service and on restaurant menus. And beyond that, we need to make a larger shift away from an overemphasis on foods from all animal sources and menus that are, and shift to menus that are more plant forward. Next slide. This focus on the urgent need for a shift away from an overdependence on animal source protein was underscored last month with the release of the new IPCC report, which highlighted the role of methane emissions in global warming. Measured over a 20-year period, methane traps heat at more than 80 times the rate which carbon dioxide does. And conventional industrialized livestock production is a significant contributor to methane emissions. Next slide. Previously, when I've addressed this summit, I've spoken about our work advancing this concept of plant forward. Today, I want to give an update on that work. First, some definitions and framing. Looking at this from a purely health and environmental perspective, The resulting imperative is to substantially reduce, but not necessarily eliminate, animal-sourced foods from the diet. Now, if we add in ethical consideration, that clearly changes the evaluation for many. But setting aside those concerns for the moment, the intersection of public health and environmental concerns leads us to an engagement strategy around the concept of plant forward that consumer insight data suggests will be the most likely to change the food choices of the largest percent of the population. Next slide. In our framing of plant forward, we define this as a style of cooking and eating that emphasizes and celebrates, but is not limited to, plant-based foods, and that reflects evidence-based principles of health and sustainability. Next slide. This definition yields a broad umbrella, a big tent, if you will, that embraces vegetarian and vegan options, but also what many call a healthy flexitarian approach to eating and menu design. Next slide. One other important note about plant forward: by using this term, we mean to imply healthy plant forward, highlighting whole, slow metabolizing, minimally processed foods, not say chips and soda, which are also plant-based, except as very rare treats. We also can't replace meat and other animal-based foods in our diet with a lot of white rice, noodles, and bread either, as that will further contribute to the global epidemic of obesity and diabetes. Next slide. In the last couple of years, we have released several reports to further flesh out this concept, including a CIA-Harvard collaboration called Plant Forward by the Numbers. Next slide. Two editions of the Plant Forward Opportunity Report, a collaboration between the American Consumer Insight Group Data Essential and the CIA, have also been released over the last couple of years. All of these reports are available at menusofchange.org under the resource section. On the positive side, these reports indicate that many Americans are increasingly open to reducing their meat consumption and are emphasizing more plant-based protein sources in their diets, in many cases by blending the two. On the other hand, there is still a mistaken perception that many foods from animal sources will contribute to greater satiety and enhance mental and physical performance. Many people surveyed still mistakenly believe that the quality of protein in animal-sourced food is somehow superior to that in plant-sourced food. So clearly there is a need for more education to correct some of these misperceptions. However, at the end of the day, taste is still typically the top-ranked reason that Americans choose the food they do. Taste is a critical driver of choice all over the world. Chef and food and beverage managers everywhere, whether in the US, Europe, China, or elsewhere, need to enhance their skills and learn new menu strategies to increase consumer acceptance of plant-forward flavors, dining, and food choices. Next slide. This is why 3 years ago, we launched a new conference series, our Global Plant Forward Culinary Summit. Every spring at our Napa Valley campus, which we showed you earlier, we gather chefs, world cuisine experts, and F&B managers to explore flavor strategies drawn from traditionally plant-forward food cultures from the Mediterranean and Africa to Asia and Latin America, together with some of our most creative chefs who are inventing new approaches, concepts, and techniques to achieve culinary excellence in plant-forward cooking. You can view past sessions of this conference series at plantforwardkitchen.org. Next slide. As an industry, we need to rethink what we know about culinary fundamentals and how to create delicious, sustainable food that will keep our customers happy and coming back. This insight had led us to, over the past 2 years, to a collaboration with the global food team at Google to develop the Plant Forward Kitchen Training and Certification Initiative. In order to develop culinary skills and flavor development strategies of the Plant Forward Kitchen to bring that to a larger audience of cooks, chefs, and industry professionals around the world. Designed as an online, video-based opportunity, level 1 of the program is now available for frontline cooks everywhere. The advanced content of level 2 is currently in production. Google is planning to have all of its culinary professionals globally go through this program over the next several years. And I encourage you to check it out for your organization, with more information coming soon at the plantforwardkitchen.org, one of the CIA websites. Now, you can also access the program through our e-learning technology platform partner, Lobster Inc. And now I want to play a short video that will give you a taste of the program. So if we can cue up the video.
There's a shift in consumer demand that's already underway. Will your kitchen team be in the driving seat, or will you be playing catch-up? Leading during this change requires a team who thinks differently about the role of plants in a 21st century diet, with the skills to match. Plant Forward Kitchen, a training program created by the Culinary Institute of America, will equip your team with contemporary thinking and plant-centric culinary skills to deliver sustainable and flavorsome plant-based offerings at scale. 19 courses deliver interactive learning to cooks and chefs on any device and in multiple languages. And because Plant Forward Kitchen is powered by the Lobster Inc. platform, managers can easily assign training, manage progress, and report on training performance and other analytics. Reframe the way your team thinks about plant-based cooking and lead the change with Plant Forward Kitchen.
So we'll hope you'll check that out. And as we said, we're now working on level 2 of that program. Over the past several years, we've been, if we could have the next slide. Over the past several years, we've been creating curated lists in partnership with the U.S. restaurant industry trade publications to bring greater attention to restaurant and food service companies who are finding success in leading innovation around this plant-forward concept. Here's an example of a list highlighting plant-forward fast casual restaurants in the United States. It's a category of restaurants we did with QSR magazine. Our most recent list focused on plant-forward innovation in hospitals in the healthcare sector. You can view all of these collections of the American food service industry innovators at plantforwardkitchen.org. Next slide, please. One sector in the US that has especially been a major contributor to leading plant-forward innovation is the US college and university sector. 5 years ago, we launched a companion program to our Menus of Change initiative in conjunction with Stanford University called our Menus of Change University Research Collaborative, or MCURC. This is now a collaborative of some 60 universities in the United States and abroad committed to healthy, sustainable food program innovation and research. The academic researchers, chefs, and food and beverage managers in this collaborative are focused on innovating new models of translational and operational research that we so desperately need in the area of sustainability. For example, various MCRC member universities have collaborated on research to determine whether how we label a healthy dish impacts its consumer acceptance. Recently, the collaborative has studied vegan, vegetarian, and other plant-forward sauce-making traditions of the Mediterranean region to evaluate their potential acceptance in university dining. And a large subset of universities are tracking their year-over-year purchase of meat and animal-sourced foods to document their declining role on the menus of universities. We invite chefs, dining directors, F&B direct managers, and faculty at interested universities around the world, including China, to join us to further leverage the role of colleges and universities in accelerating food choices that are better for us and better for the planet. Finally, if I could have the next slide, I want to mention a very important development in our graduate degree programs. We are now working to design and launch a new master's degree in food systems and sustainability. from a culinary chef's perspective, which we expect to begin offering in the fall of 2022. The program will be largely delivered online together with 2 or 3 short US-based residencies and will be open to international students as well. So watch for this news about this winter, coming up this winter at our main website, cichef.edu or plantforwardkitchen.org. And again, the program will start in the fall of 2022. Next slide. What all of these CI initiatives share, though, is a commitment to deliciousness, because if the final results of our sustainable food initiatives don't appeal to individuals and their families, we won't make much progress. So thank you very much again, and I wish my colleagues in China and all of you who've joined today all the best of luck with your leadership work around the transformation of our menus and our food systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. 感谢 Greg 的演讲。
Thank you so much, Greg. It is really very informative, and indeed, one of the key points we can tell is that when we're talking about plant-forward initiative, is a very important trend. Yeah, it serves as a mega trend, and also it is highly endorsed by more and more organizations across the globe. Greg also believes chefs can play an inspirational role beyond the kitchen. And when we were talking about the plant-forward, the culinary and diet, so are being very promoted, like chips itself are not that healthy, even if it is plant-based. Yeah, so we really can take into account, for example, reducing the prevalence of diabetes and also obesity, etc. And also plant-based protein as a very important source. And still, we need to work very hard to improve its yumminess. And also more and more chefs have recognized the importance of this. And also there are still a lot of misconception. Well, as you just mentioned, we need to correct. All in all of these knowledges and also the training courses are very appealing, and we do need engagement of more organizations to raise the awareness among the general public, even among the catering industry sector as a whole. The real also like the benefits of the plant-based protein and whether it can satisfy the protein source. Yeah, it's really informative again, and also MCURC, and you are partnering with Google on plant-forward training certification initiative, and even the upcoming graduate degree programs. Yeah, it helps the sector to train more chefs with a very high awareness and know-how on plant-forward diet. I appreciate that very much again. Yeah, so during the keynote presentation, I think you can also send the questions to the chat box of Zoom. Our colleague will collect the question. And also during the Q&A session afterwards, we will raise the questions to all the keynote speakers. And we are about to have our next speaker. Please wait for a moment. Next page. Next is Mr. Paul Newman, founder of the Chef's Manifesto, director of SDG2 Advocacy Hub, worked for FAO and serving as a very important part of DG2 and coordinating on the global advocacy work and to build a connection network covering 530 chefs from 70 countries regions. The 8 principles is also deemed as Chef's Manifesto. Paul this time has some other arrangement, so he has made a video. So we are about to show you the video to introduce us about the Chef Manifesto initiative and updates on that.
Hi, my name's Paul Newnham, and I am the director of the Sustainable Development Goal 2 Advocacy Hub and the Chef's Manifesto. I'm also one of the food system champions, and I'm also chairing the public engagement group for the UN Food System Summit. So the UN Food System Summit is coming up on September 23rd, and it's an absolutely critical opportunity for the world to come together to talk about how food systems can drive change around all 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The world is obviously facing many different crises. We have climate, we have COVID, we also have all these other elements which are really impacting our planet. And so as we see some of this challenge that we're facing, the UN Food Systems Summit brings together world leaders, brings together civil society, private sector, and all these different actors to really look at how can we drive change through the food that we eat and the way that we produce it and engage with it. And so it's really, really important for this summit to come together and for all of us everywhere, people, everyone everywhere, to get in behind this, to understand what's being committed to demand strong action, and to really drive forward the solutions that come from the summit. As part of this work, I am chairing the Public Engagement Task Force, and there is a public engagement campaign called Good Food for All, which has been launched. And Good Food for All is simply about raising awareness that food is everything. Food is part of all of the ways that we connect. It's part of humanity, so it's important for people, and it's important for our health, the way we relate to one another, our culture, our community, our family, and all of those levels of engagement. It's also really important for our planet. Food and the agricultural system has a huge impact on our climate and on our planet. And so as a part of this, it's really important that we think about the planet when we're actually eating food. And then it's also about prosperity. It's about the future, and it's about how we succeed and how we can move forward as a community, as a planet, and as a world. And so it's really, really important to think about people, planet, and prosperity. And the Good Food for All campaign is really asking the question of, what does good food mean? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to add the word good? And so it's so great to be now speaking with the Good Food Fund, and to be talking at the moment with the Good Food Fund in such a way, because obviously Good Food Fund is really thinking about food and the way that it can be good. And so there's this real interesting connection here. So it's great to be with you. I really wish I could be there in person and be with you, but unfortunately I'm only able to dial in from London today. And so I wanted to also just talk a little bit about the different actors involved in the campaign. So if we think about it, there's a lot of different actors in the campaign that have been engaged. And in our food system, we have everyone from farmers and fisher folk. We have people that are producing food, business leaders. We have people that are obviously running food businesses. And then we also have the people that prepare food, and chefs are really critical in this. The Chef's Manifesto is a network that we set up to bring chefs together from around the world as a community to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. And there's 8 actions, these 8 actions which we've created that connect to the Sustainable Development Goals, to all 17 goals. And they have very clear actions that chefs are able to unite around and drive that action forward in their practice. And so it's really important for this to happen. As part of the year and focus on the UN Food System Summit, we've brought chefs together from around the world to really think about how we could create a pledge of what are the urgent actions that we should be taking. And so we've come up with a set of urgent actions which chefs have voted on that they believe are the most important, and they believe are the most important focus areas in order to drive the most change. And so the Chef's Pledge is something that you can sign. It's really important that chefs use this and gather and get behind it. And what it can do is help you prioritize the things you do in your kitchen, in your community, and also in the way that you practice. And so it gives you a clear focus and a clear way to get going. And so this all comes together. So the Good Food for All campaign, the Chef's Pledge, and they all really do help promote this way forward. And in many parts of the world, this way forward is about shifting the things that we focus on and eat. And what we've done is really been key to look at the science. What does the science say? And the science says that our diet at the moment is really focused on eating very few things, and some of which are very harmful. And so we need to encourage people to eat more plant-based ingredients. We need to encourage people to eat a more diverse diet that's healthier for them, but also for the planet. And so this is really, really critical. And as we believe that this change needs to be tasty, needs to taste good. It doesn't need to be something that people are struggling with. It needs to be something that people want to get behind, something that people are drawn towards. And I think this is really critical. I mentioned earlier that, COVID-19 has been a big shock to the system globally. So, COVID-19 in the last 2 years has just changed the way so many of us work, so many of us engage. And this has been really, really critical for the hospitality industry because there's lots of chefs that have had restaurants close, that have had to think very differently about the way they do meal service. There's a lot more awareness and visibility now around health and around nutrition and immunity and all of these kinds of elements. So we've seen across our network, and we have in the Chef's Manifesto, over 1,000 chefs in 90 countries that connect and advocate on the SDGs. And we've got some great chefs as part of your network in China that are really great, and we'd love to have more. And so chefs we've seen transition in lots of ways. They've had to move online to teaching, advocacy, and learning, creating speaking, different speaking engagements, running workshops, seminars, using their platforms, using social media in different ways to really educate people around how do you change the way that you're eating? How do you think differently? We've also seen many chefs pivot towards really focusing on essential workers. We've seen this, like Chef Radhika from India really looked at how she responded to crematorium workers in India, and they made a huge number of meals from her home. And there's an article on our website which can tell you a little bit about it. There's also others that have moved to creating meals for healthcare professionals that are working long hours to really show gratitude, but to give them the nutrition that they need and the additional benefits that they need. And so there's been these real shifts that have happened. We've seen people that have run pickup and delivery services from their restaurants where they've shifted their space to do that. We've seen people championing plant-based diets as a healthy way to get vital micronutrients. There's been all kinds of shifts and changes that have happened. And so as part of being a part of the Chef's Manifesto, we've seen chefs support one another in amazing ways. This has been through sharing and promoting each other's work, calling out some of the opportunities for people to engage, but also showcasing that work and some of the things people are doing, participating in each other's cooking events, in virtual demonstrations, sharing each other's cookbooks, videos, and curated content, working together at invited events such as the UN Food System Summit, Pre-Summit, the Agro-Biodiversity Congress, the Expo, the World Expo coming up, the AGRF, and the UN Environment Program, Omved Gardens, all these different spaces. We've had chefs turning up and working together. And then also really trying to offer up content that's tangible, that describes things like different recipes and articles for different days. And why I think this is really, really great is that it's absolutely critical that we have the voice of culinary professionals, people that work between the ingredients and the people that eat in such a way that they're working together, they're bringing to life science in a very practical way to be able to make tasty, enjoyable dishes that people can engage with. And so I just really want to encourage any of the chefs there that are listening to really think about the framework that you're using. What do you believe in? How do you want to be part of the solution to drive action and change? How can you use your kitchen use the way that you're working to really help educate people, to help them to have healthier diets, to help them to think about their impact on the planet. And I think this is really, really critical this year in 2021 with the UN Food Systems Summit. And then as we move through that towards the climate COP and many of the other global events that are coming up. So I really want to say thank you for the opportunity to Good Food Fund for having me on today and for giving us a platform to talk a little bit about the Good Food for All campaign, the Chef's Manifesto and the Chef's Pledge, and then just really about how chefs can really drive forward change in the future. So hope you can follow us online at Chef's Manifesto and look up chefsmanifesto.com where there's more information about some of our work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Paul, for the recorded session and a lot of inspiring information. So the hospitality and catering industry and the chef are very important for the work, and we can learn a lot from their work. And from Paul's presentation, they have good food for all, and this is promoted by the UN Food System Summit, and there's the Chef Manifesto. And after the pandemic, the industry has been impacted, and many chefs are making changes to adapt to this new situation. And they are dedicated to improve the public awareness of good food. And it's also important for the community, culture, families, and the connections at all levels. Good food for all encourage people to choose a diversified diet, and plant-based diet is friendly for the planet, for our world, and for our health. And there's also the Chef Manifesto. Before the UN Food System Summit was started, they have this Chef Manifesto, and this is to together with the Chef Pledge, the Chef Manifesto and the Chef Pledge, and they have the 8 action area, which is totally aligned with the 7 SDGs of the UN. And Good Food Fund is one of the Chinese organization which have joined the Chef's Pledge. Due to the pandemic, a lot of these activities have been moved online. Online courses, online trainings, the online workshops and the seminars. And we also hope we can use the social media to let more people know how to change their lifestyle and change their diet. And the Chef's Manifesto is also to support the chefs. They can support each other. It's like a platform, a community in which the chef can support each other. And the chef can also make use of their own platform, their own kitchen, and their networking to recommend these plant-forward, healthy diet and influence more people. And the behavior of the chef can be very critical to promote changes and actions. Thank you very much again, Paul. And our third speaker is from Meatless Monday, Ms. Dana Smith, the campaign director of Meatless Monday, and she's responsible for the future strategy of Meatless Monday and to enhance the awareness and implementation of the Meatless Monday campaigns. And she's also managing and maintaining the relationship with the catering service providers, communities, schools, restaurants, chefs, and the KOLs. Yesterday at the summit, we have announced our partnership with the Meatless Monday. We will start the promotion of Meatless Monday in China. So now let's welcome Dana.
Please start your speech.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Okay, are you able to see that, Cecilia?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. My name is Dana Smith. I'm the campaign director at Meatless Monday, and I'm saying hi to you from New York City tonight, far away, but thank you so much for having me. Meatless Monday, here we go. Meatless Monday credits much of its success and growth from other partners, organizations, and people promoting plant-based eating on Mondays. Today, I'm going to focus on a key target audience of ours, which is chefs and restaurants. We believe that chefs are key in expanding the interest in and the deliciousness of plant-based food and Meatless Monday. But a little history on us. Meatless Monday was founded in 2003, so 18 years ago. And the mission was simple: to encourage everyone to simply cut out meat one day a week. Meatless Monday, the name says it all. We believe that Meatless Monday is simply the starting point for getting people to think about meat reduction and actually reducing meat consumption. And we hope that that leads to people eating more plant-based foods throughout the week. We feel it's an easy first step to get people excited about trying plant-based foods. And over the years, Meatless Monday has grown into a global movement with grassroots activities in over 40 countries. And we love the fact that in each country, it takes a different shape. So for example, in the UK, it was launched by celebrity Sir Paul McCartney and under the name Meat Free Monday. In Jamaica, it was founded by a chef and a food journalist. And in Brazil, the campaign known as Segunda Sem Carne is run by the Brazilian Vegetarian Society. It really is a customized grassroots experience. And as we just heard, we're super excited to be expanding the campaign into China. Meatless Monday is promoted in a range of settings. I like to think about places where they're feeding a lot of people and ensuring that on Mondays and every day of the week that they're offering good plant-based options. So Meatless Monday is promoted in various settings ranging from schools, universities, hospitals, restaurants, cities and public institutions, and promoted by advocacy groups, the media, and food brands. Many of these groups and partners use the popularity of Meatless Monday to either expand the plant-based options on their menus or to use it as a tool to educate people about the benefits of cutting back on their meat consumption. Meatless Monday also on our website provides a ton of free resources that anyone who's interested in starting a Meatless Monday campaign can go to our website and find. They range from implementation guides that explain how perhaps a food service cafeteria organization might take on Meatless Monday to people that might just want to post about it through social media. We have all the free resources that anyone could need to start a Meatless Monday campaign. But let's focus a little bit on why meatless, why going meatless is important. There are many reasons, but our campaign specifically focuses on the health benefits and the environmental benefits of cutting back on meat. Eating more plant-based foods can provide significant health and environmental benefits. We've learned through research and anecdotally that many people understand the health benefits of eating more plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, legumes, but they have more difficulty making the connection between food and climate. And so while we always talk about our messaging from a food perspective, we think it's super important to explain what happens to your body, what happens to the planet when you make the choice to cut back on meat. Eating more plant-based foods is one of the most effective actions individuals in countries with high meat consumption can take to reduce the world's eco footprint. For example, when you cut back on meat, you help the planet by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, saving water. 70% of the world's fresh water is used for animal agriculture, saving energy, and conserving land. 80% of global farmland is used for livestock production, and the meat industry is the most significant driver of deforestation. And of course, we know that cutting back on meat and adding more plant-based foods to your diet is good for our health. It can help with things such as fighting diabetes, reducing heart disease, and limiting the risk of cancer. But why Monday? We also have research that shows why Monday is important. That research shows that Monday is the best day to begin a healthy habit. A recent survey shows that 57% said they intend to eat healthier on Mondays. The key to health behavior change is to create healthy habits that can be sustained over time. And a weekly cue, such as Meatless Monday, can help keep people on track. Monday is the day people are most open to receiving health messages. So using this sort of Monday effect can be a powerful leverage point in public health promotions to help people stay on track with their health goals. Now, I thought it would be interesting to apply what we just spoke about in terms of the environmental impact and really look at it from sort of a food print standpoint. So in this chart, you can see that we're comparing a beef burger versus a veggie burger made with soy. And as you can see, the beef burger uses significantly more water, land, and feed, and produces significantly more emissions from greenhouse gases. And while that's the science behind the campaign, we actually always think about Monday from a culinary focus. So we understand the impacts and the benefits of meat reduction on our planet and for our personal health, but it's important to talk about messaging and what has worked for us. When we talk about Meatless Monday, we always come at it from a culinary and a food first perspective. We love to highlight the abundance of delicious, colorful, easy to use plant-based foods, and don't highlight the fact that meat is missing. Some ways we do this is, again, highlighting delicious plant-based choices and not taking meat away. Focus on a fun weekly ritual that people can do together at mealtime. It's a chance to experiment with new approaches to plant-based cooking. It's a positive weekly platform to promote vegetables as the main dish. And we always promote tips, tricks, and recipes to encourage people to try plant-based foods and educate them on how easy it can be to cook plant-based at home, as well as find new plant-based experiences when you're eating out. But I guess the real question here is why chefs, and what kind of impact can chefs have in inspiring plant-based eating? Chefs can be leaders in helping to bring awareness to the importance of meat reduction. Because we all know that if the food doesn't taste good, no one's going to want to eat it. So it's up to you, the culinary experts, to make plant-based eating delicious and easy, and of course, accessible. In addition, by promoting and expanding plant-based foods, chefs can position themselves as leaders in sustainability and health. As influencers, chefs can use their platforms to promote Meatless Monday, whether it's through your social media or your workplace or a restaurant. And in my opinion, the best part is chefs get to lead the culinary innovation and preserve cultural traditions. Chefs get to make plant-based food so good that consumers will never miss the meat. So how can chefs elevate plant-based foods and meals? How can chefs look to their ancestors, their grandparents, family recipes, and replicate and restore traditional recipes that were originally made with whole foods? How can we bring veggies to the center of the plate once again? But chefs also need to stay current by utilizing new plant-based alternatives and proteins, which bring mass appeal to consumers. The launch of new meat alternatives here in the US has had a big impact on bringing awareness to plant-based foods and sort of bridging the gap between helping people understand the environmental impact of meat consumption. And it's also allowed us to tap into a new market and a new audience. People that would have never eaten something plant-based or vegan are now trying these new plant-based alternatives. In the US, there were some significant early adopters of Meatless Monday that helped build awareness for our campaign. Sometimes all it takes is a passionate leader to create a movement. Chefs can definitely be those leaders. Chefs can be the leaders and influencers of better, climate-friendlier food. And on this slide, I have some examples of some notable people and chefs that helped us create awareness for Meatless Monday. For example, a chef in New York City, Chef John Fraser, he was one of the first that created an entirely meatless tasting menu and did it on Mondays and completely shifted his business model, wherein people couldn't get a reservation in his restaurant on Mondays. It was so popular. And then a chef like Michael Simon, who's a huge meat lover and meat-centric chef, decides to go Meatless Monday himself. And when Sodexo launched Meatless Monday in their healthcare and corporate divisions. And when Chef Marcus Samuelson provided a Meatless Monday for the UN Equator Awards. And one of our favorites, when Michael Pollan endorsed Meatless Monday on the Oprah Winfrey Show, reaching millions of viewers. I also wanted to note that here in the US, we leverage and really rely on chefs and culinary experts and have formed a Meatless Monday Culinary Ambassador Group. It's a group of diverse, wide range chefs with different expertise. For example, one of our chefs is a former doctor who decided to get his culinary degree. So now we call him the doc chef. One of them is a big fitness instructor who also turned to food to help with some of his health concerns. So we use these experts in our own media and our own channels, such as promoting them on social media, on our website, in our newsletter, and through media outreach. They provide us with recipes, cooking tips, plant-based inspiration, and the latest in plant-based news and techniques. So chefs are super important in helping us spread the word. They in turn promote Meatless Monday on their channels, in their restaurants, and when they have an opportunity to speak about it to the media. And we can't talk about chefs and food without talking about the important role that restaurants play. And when restaurants promote and participate in Meatless Monday, they can see big shifts in their Monday business. For restaurants, it's an opportunity to attract new customers, drive in more traffic on Mondays, which is typically a slow restaurant day, show diners that you care about their health and the health of the planet, capitalize on the growing trend for meatless dishes. Chefs get to be innovative, showcasing new and creative approaches to vegetarian cooking. And it's also an effective tool to generate press coverage for your restaurant and promotion on social media. Some popular restaurant chains that adopted plant-based menu items and Meatless Monday are Burger King, Chipotle, Subway, Starbucks, TGI Fridays, and not to mention the thousands and thousands of small local restaurants that promote Meatless Monday and plant-based eating weekly. So how can a restaurant get started with Meatless Monday? It's simple and it's easy. Restaurants can leverage Meatless Monday as a promotional platform to feature plant-based menu items each week. Restaurants should highlight menu items and dishes you already offer or create new ones for Monday, all while keeping meat and seafood items on your menu. Consider a Meatless Monday tasting menu or offer Meatless Monday specials and discounts. Focus on local and seasonal ingredients. Showcase vegetables from different cuisines. And make swaps of your best-selling meat dishes. So if there's something that's super popular on your menu, one of your best-selling items, how can you turn that into a plant-based version? And equally important is training of your staff. Restaurant managers and chefs should train the staff on specials, unique recipes, cooking techniques for plant-based items. They should also be trained on the health and environmental benefits of Meatless Monday and reducing meat consumption. Meatless Monday is also a great way to promote and publicize a restaurant's activities. You can take photos of delicious menu items and share on your website and on social media to encourage visitors to visit on Monday. It's also a great story to pitch to your local media that want to highlight sustainable businesses. And of course, social media. We rely on it a lot, and restaurants do as well. And restaurants and chefs can utilize social media and digital channels to promote Meatless Monday. The hashtag Meatless Monday generates millions of views weekly from people that are looking for the latest in plant-based news, cooking ideas, recipes, new products, and where to eat out. Posting beautiful food photos along with recipes, menu items, and specials can help build awareness. The goal is to make Meatless Monday delicious and easy. And lastly, I wanted to share with you a promotion we're working on with Slow Food International, specifically started in Italy to highlight beans. The global bean promotion can be adapted by communities, towns, restaurants, chefs, schools, anyone that wants to make the connection between food and climate and health. Beans are the sustainable protein of the future. In this particular promotion, we gathered farmers, chefs, and mayors to showcase their town's local beans and celebrate plant-based culinary traditions. The global bean promotion can be launched in any town or community to promote local, biodiverse plant-based foods, support local farmers, address climate change, improve community health, and drive in tourism. Chefs, it's your part in this is that you can highlight local beans that have special history and traditional recipes as a way to discuss the powerful benefits of beans and how beans support a healthy diet and a healthy planet. Add these beans to your restaurant menus, dinners at home, and anywhere people celebrate Meatless Monday. There are so many reasons why chefs play an important role in promoting plant-based foods. Chefs have the opportunity now to be early adopters of Meatless Monday in China, being at the forefront of making the world a healthier place through delicious food. And to sign up and get more information, there's this URL here, and I believe we'll send it out to you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. 对，其实
Thank you. For Meatless Monday, I'm very really stunned, shocked every time. So thank you, Dana, again. You have given us a very holistic introduction, especially on how Meatless Monday work with chef, starting from Monday, and also to have access to this information. It's very easy to start. It helps us to forge a very good habit. In terms of the partnership with chefs, you motivate chefs to join campaigns, and also you leverage their passion, leverage their creativity to develop the products and menus. And you mentioned also the importance of restaurant. If you introduce the plant-based food also to acquire new customers, and it is really very relevant to be a value-added part of the business of restaurant. I think it can show the consumers that the restaurant really values the importance of environment and health. Chefs are creating the new recipes, which is mainly plant-based, and on Monday it will be totally Meatless Monday. And also you recommend to have a special menu for Meatless Monday. So maybe you don't need to change the other parts of your incumbent menu, but you can set up a unique, dedicated menu for Meatless Monday. And also you shared with us how to leverage the social media, digital media to promote Meatless Monday. It's not only about to promote the philosophy of the itself and demonstrate how chefs, restaurants view on the topic. And they are already very successful. They appeal on the media, and as Oprah show, I remember that moment. And many of these new programs are becoming more and more influential. Thanks very much, Dana, for showing us broaden our horizon how so many chefs, restaurants are promoting. And I remember the program of global bean promotion is very interesting. Maybe I will learn more from you afterwards. I'm very interested in that topic. Yeah, all of the above mentioned campaigns are so relevant, and we are changing the sector step by step, and we are also having more and more behavior shift as well. And thanks very much. And I also need to say at the end of the day, Dana mentioned you may also learn more about We offered a lot of resources. Yeah, we have partnered with Meatless Monday China as well, and our colleagues may also show us on the live streaming platform and Zoom meeting, the platform of Meatless Monday, and where you can get information. You can learn more, even sign up on Meatless Monday. Yeah. Okay, we still have a presentation to go. During the presentation, you may also type in your question into the chat box of our live streaming platforms. And also, we will talk during the Q&A session. And we are going to invite Mr. Zhou Chunzu, our old friend, Chinese Chief Representative from CIWF, Compassion in World Farming, and who have also advocating the Gold Award of Animal Welfare. And now he serves multiple titles in OIE, ICAWAFEO, and who is promoting One World, One Welfare philosophy in China. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. Thank you all very much for joining us online in the morning of the Sunday. Thank you very much for joining us on the Good Food Summit and focusing on the discussion of the Eco Chef Forum. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. It's my great pleasure to have this opportunity to gather on the Good Food Summit to talk about animal welfare. And yesterday afternoon, we already have the discussion about food and animal welfare. And today, I want to talk about why should we care about animal welfare and leading the chef's decision on eat less and better. And our speakers from the US have mentioned the chefs choose plant forward and eat less, eat better. So why this topic is very important, and let's look at the practice in Europe and in US. So the impact of animal welfare are related to a lot of things. Like at the beginning, when we talk about animal welfare, because we believe the animals have feelings, and this is based on science and the reality, and it's also part of the science disciplinary. So the animals shall be treated in the right way and shall be respected. And besides this first reason, we have many other impacts of animal welfare, and these are also the crises endangering the sustainable development of the plant, the animals, the human beings, and the planet. So the vision of the animal welfare is to build a world where the welfare of animals is respected, promoted, and advanced in ways that complement the pursuit of animal health, human well-being, social, economic development, and environmental sustainability. So the animal welfare is not only for the animals, it's also for ourselves, because 75% of the new infectious disease in human are the zoonotic, and every minute there's one person worldwide died because of the drug-resistant bacteria. This year and last year, everyone has been impacted by the global pandemic. And I think everyone is more concerned about the world with the zoonotic disease. It really have impact on our everyday life. Also, the animal health equals farmer happiness, and we keep the livestock healthy, give the adequate nutrition they need, and water should be kept clean, and the animals shall be vaccinated against the disease. animal welfare is not only about the animals, it's also the welfare of the human beings, because it's an essential component in food safety and quality. Like by 2050, the world demand for animal protein will increase by 70%. When we see this number, we need to think right now we have a 7.5 billion population in the world, and about 800 million people still have a malnutrition or hunger. So we have a lot of deforest, and we have a huge damage to the ecosystem. A lot of these are caused by the current agriculture industry, and by 2050, the demand continued to grow by 70%, and this will be devastating to the food supply system and the environment. Let's talk about some numbers, and let's first talk about China. So why the factory farming threats the animal welfare and the food system? Because most of the agriculture products are used for farming. For example, 90% of the soybeans are used as the feed to the animals, not consumed directly by the human beings. Sorry, it's not the soybeans, it's the 90% grains. And in China, 40% of the food are becoming the animal feed instead of consumed by the people, and the 20% becomes industrialized alcohol or fuels. Only 30% are consumed by human as food. It's the same worldwide. A lot of the food we take is actually from the other side of the world. And it will cause the deforestation and long distance transportation. And there are a lot of transportation of the living animals. And that's because of the demand for the animal products of the human. And this is the torture, and it's very cruel for the animals. And the animal welfare is also related to food safety. In the last few years, we have seen many food safety problems rise from the animal products. If we do not care about animal welfare, we will have stress-induced immunosuppression, we have a promotion of foodborne pathogens, we have a genetic modification. If the animal is living in shock or in fear, there will be stress generated, and the stress will induce the immunosuppression, and this will lead to unbalanced hormone levels. And in the industry, what we do now is to take the vaccine shots, and this will cause a very negative impact on the healthy animals. This is very bad for the Chinese consumers, because the Chinese consumers eat a lot of the organs of the animals, and the organs will have a lot of these bad materials. And also, I've mentioned that 75% of the new infectious disease are the zoonotic disease. The scientists are looking for the effective ways to control these foodborne pathogens. But every minute, there's a person infected by these foodborne pathogens and die. And by 2030, we will have a further growth of the protein demand, and there's a forecast saying that large-scale disease outbreaks will continue worldwide. And we see the livestock farming is getting more and more industrialized and intensive. For example, in China, we see the pig farming industry are using like the tall buildings to raise pigs, and the highest is like 26 floors. So for the producers, they believe this is a effective way to stop the transmission of pathogens and effectively manage and monitor the animals. But we also need to see it's very small areas. The animals live together, very crowded. This kind of intensive factory farming will have a huge risk of the foodborne pathogens outbreak, disease outbreak. Another concern is the genetic modification. Some genetic modification is good and is an essential part of the evolution, but if it's only for high production volume, this kind of genetic selection is not healthy, and this will cause a huge damage to the animal welfare. So for the summit, we have 2.5 days discussion, and we don't have time to show you the life of these farm animals. And besides the genetic modification, there's also other like the lag and the behavioral change of the pigs, because the pigs are genetically selected and they grow fast, and they stand on the cement floors, the hard floors, and the movement of the pigs are restrained to a very small area, and there might be the clopodia. And the pigs are smart, but they do not have the chance to express their natural behaviors. They cannot communicate with their peers. So this is a frustration, emotional frustration to the pigs. And in the modern factory farming system, in order to prevent the fight due to the depression or emotional frustration, because the pigs like exploring the world. If there's no space for them to play and to express their natural behaviors, they will be attracted by the ears or the tails of the other pigs or their peers, and then they will bite the ears or tails, and this will cause infection. And in the intensive factory farming, the common practice is that within 1 week of the birth of the pigs, they take the scissors or the hot irons to cut off the teeth of the pigs, also cut at least 2/3 of the pigtail. So this is the damage and injury caused by human beings. And because of the infections, emotional stress, and the fight between the pigs, there's a high instance of death. So the animal welfare is not protected. And we can take the cow as the example. In the natural environment, the cow have milk because they want to feed their babies. But we have a huge demand of milk by the human beings. So there's also a lot of abuse happening to the cows. A lot of these abuse are not known by the general public, like the calf. At the moment that they were born, they will be taken away from their moms, because this kind of initial milk is very popular among the consumers because of the high nutritious level. And the modern farming producers want to have a lot of milk production, so they have a genetic modification to have like a 10 times a larger size of the breast, and is too large that the cow cannot even stand up, and they might need to lie down on the floor, and this will cause lesion to their skins. And every time there's the milk squeezing 3 or 4 times in the modern factories. Because today we focus on the chef's role, so I will not talk too much about this. If you are interested, you can search online about the animal welfare. You can get more information, and we shall feel responsible to animal welfare. So we have a lot of challenges calling for urgent actions. And the human being is one of the inhabitants on the planet. So we have the ethical responsibility to make changes. There's another set of numbers, is a study from the US. And this is a comparison of 1950 and 2019. In 1950, the average amount of milk produced per cow in a year is about 5,300 pounds. And in 2019, it's 4 times. This is just the US. And there might be some difference between US, EU, or China. It's just the example. And it grows to 23,000 pounds comparing with 5,300 pounds in 1950. And we also have the average weight of the chicken, also the average time to market for chickens. And in 2019, the average time is 47 days. And this includes organic and cage-free chickens. If we look at the chickens available in the market with intensive farming, it's like 35 to 40 days average time to market for chickens. So for animal welfare, besides the poultry or the mammalian animals, there are studies about the fish. We also have the information here. If you're interested, you can also check for more information. We believe animal welfare is the key to sustainable development, and we need to pay attention to the harmonious connection between the nature and the human beings. So what is a good animal welfare? And we shall improve from intensive production to high welfare indoor production. We have partners to make trials, and then we want to move to free range production and then move further to best welfare. And we were established in 1967. We are the NGO focusing on animal welfare. In 2007, we started the Good Farm Animal Welfare Awards. And by now, this program have established a partnership with over 1,000 mainstream enterprises, and we work with them together for the animal welfare policies and action plans. Many of these brands are available in China, and the China Good Farm Animal Welfare Award was started in 2014. We have the award for pig, for eggs, and for chicken, and there are over 100 Chinese companies winning the awards, and it benefits over 278 million farm animals. Just to remind you, you stopped sharing slides.
OK，现在看得到吗？
Can you see my screen now? Yes.
OK。好，这是刚才我已经说过的哈，这些品牌我们大家都。
So these are the brands winning the award. I think you know a lot of them, and these are the China awards. And next, I want to talk about the role the chefs can play, like they can source from higher welfare systems and more plant-based options of vegetarian, vegan dishes. And the chefs can influence more people to choose this healthy diet. And we see famous chef from the UK. He published the books and he is on TV. He is Jamie Oliver. And he said that eat less, eat better is something I've been doing for a long time. And the benefit of plant-based product is that everyone can enjoy it and there's no sacrifice of the taste. So if we pay attention to animal fat, then the vegetables can also make you feel happier. And he said, I believe we've reached a critical mass when it comes to wanting the veggie ideas. And 8 years ago, I have written a book, and back then the ideas is not very popular, but now it's the time. And we believe it's the right time to have the UN's Food System Summit and to promote the changes. And this is another chef Hugh. Eat less, eat better, maximum 70 grams a day and 500 grams a week. And from nose to tail approach to reduce food waste. And he has the River Cottage, the restaurant for training. And another chef is Theory Marks, and he proposes 80% plant-based and 20% animal proteins. This is a flexitarian. And we also have the French chef Alain, and he said that cuisine resembles the person who creates it, reinvents it and embellish it. And he do not use meat, and he sources the fish from responsible fisheries. And the same as a theory, he agreed that the diet should be 80% plant-based and 20% animal protein. And we have the female chef, Claire, and she only cooks the vegetarian dishes. And today, I mainly presented the chefs from Europe, and our other speakers have introduced the chefs from the US, and we are happy to see many Chinese chefs are also trying these healthy and plant-based diet. And we are proud of the Chinese cuisine. And you see from the photos that this kind of food can give us a more like the emotional, sensory, and visual appeals. And we believe that you are what you eat, and you can make a choice, and you can make a difference in the world. Thank you. This is my presentation. Thank you very much. And I really want to invite our speakers to have another session to share more details, because we really want to share the information about animal welfare to the chef, because it's possible that many chefs didn't know about this animal welfare and how the animals grow up in the farms. And thank you very much, Jeff, for your presentation. And in your presentation, we are aware that the animal welfare is not only for the animals, it's also for the health of the human beings. 75% of the new infectious disease is a zoonotic disease. And every minute there's one person in the world dying from the drug-resistant bacteria. So we have a huge challenge. And what we want to do is to make more people to be aware of the truth behind it. We want to get behind it, and you can make a choice. choice. As the chef and the practitioners in the catering services industries, everyone can make your choice, everyone can make a difference. As Jeff has mentioned in the presentation, the chef play very critical role. For example, use the product sourced from a high welfare system and add more vegetables, promote plant-based diet. These are very good solutions. And this is a very important part of our discussion. And if we have time or opportunity in the future, we hope we can organize these sessions with more details of animal welfare for our chefs. Thank you, Jeff, again. And next is the Q&A session. And we have received some questions online.
We collect the first question. So let me organize myself. The question goes to Greg.
Hello, Greg.
Yeah, hi.
The first question goes to Greg. So we know there are many Chinese who are still malnourished. The students just want to give more animal proteins over the plant-based proteins because they are worried about the well-balanced diet. So what we can do, how to increase the ratio of plant-based diet, but also to secure the growth of the children in China. So what's your point, especially for China? Thank you.
Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I was saying in English. I turned off my interpretation.
Okay, 那我再重复一下。
Yeah. So Cecilia will repeat the question. So we are talking about the health and a healthy diet, well-balanced diet in China, thanks to the need of the growth of the kids. And the students school want to give more animal proteins, but less plant proteins. So what we can do, how we can offer them a takeaway message to secure the health, but still want to increase the contribution from high-quality plant-based proteins. Yeah, what's your takeaways? Hello, Greg. Hello, Greg. Can you hear me? Hello, Greg. Can you hear me? Hello, Greg. Can you hear me?
Hi, Greg. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
So can you hear the question? Do I need to repeat the question?
Can you say it in English?
Yeah, it's okay. So just turn off
Yeah.
the interpreter function.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear?
So the question is about children's healthy diet, because in China most of the the school they concern about the plant-based diet, the nutrition of the plant-based diet. So his question is about how to assure that the children has all the nutrition part, especially if the school offers the plant-based diet. So that's his question.
Okay. We actually have a Healthy Kids Collaborative that is the school food service directors of some of the most important school districts across the United States. So we work on this issue around kids. And there's tremendous innovation in schools now with a lot of interest on the part of school children in plant-forward and plant-based meals. They're very popular, and clearly the dietitians have to work with the chefs in terms of designing the meals, but it's not difficult to get enough protein and enough good nutrition with plant-based meals. the I think that there's an opportunity to have a mix of some regular meals, some vegetarian or vegan meals, and then some meals where you may have a little bit of animal protein, but it's more like a condiment. It's a supporting figure there, right? As opposed to trying to feed. I mean, you can feed some children entirely plant-based vegetarian or vegan meals. You just have to pay more attention to the nutrient mix. But I think in many schools we're seeing that they're offering some number of meals during the week that are vegetarian, and it's going very well.
Okay, thank you, Greg. 因为时间问题的话呢，我们可能问答环节。
Thank you, Greg. So we are running behind schedule. We have no time of raising questions. We will have more interactions in the WeChat. You can send it to us. We also have keynote speech afterwards, and we want to leave more time to you to have interactions with our guests. So we call it the end of the Q&A session. Thank you all. Thank you, Greg.
好，那我们现在的话呢，下一个环节的话，实际上是国内的实践的一个分享，那主要是由
And also, we will share with you from domestic best practice. Me and also Li Hong, we will share one after another. And as we are promoting the Good Food Chef program.
OK， 好，那如我前面有介绍的，那粮食基金的话，我们现在基于建设中国行动2017。
And we are talking about the 2019-2030 Healthy China. And this is also learning from the Eat Lancet. And talking about plant forward, which is healthier, and we attach greater importance, but not only limited by plant-based food. And whole grains and legumes and the nuts, vegetables, etc. And we also take into account manuals of change endorsed by the CIA in terms of their definition on plant forward. And why plant forward? We need the initiatives starting from the chefs. They will have big impact on the producers, consumers, chefs, and other peers. And chefs is really very important, which performs a very important role. And they select the feedstock, design a menu, recipe. It will have very big impact on consumers, raise the intention. It is very positively influential. And when we're talking about the plant forward, there are a lot of tasks they can do. And also talking about improvement on the taste of the dishes, and to especially improve the texture and the taste of the plant forward recipes, a mixture, and also focus on self-made the sauces, and focus on leveraging like herb, vanilla. And also they try to use some of the plant-based food, especially use the plant-based the proteins to replace that. Next is the development of the menus. And there's still a gap to be further filled. We don't have enough the chefs on the development of the animal welfare product menu. This is a gap we can try to fulfill. And also it is talking about the procurement of raw material. So maybe we can try to understand the plant-forward, plant-based recipes, the food feedstock, especially algae, level algae, and also the flower, fruit, which can also be used for the dishes. Yeah, there are many opportunities and fields that we can leverage. Apart from the plant-based food materials, and we also want to increase more new innovative material. We may encourage the farmers to plant a variety of the crops. And I think this is about the awareness of the raw material purchase backed by animal welfare. And also we can say that and the chefs also guide and engage the customer to have the dialogue of that, and by designing the menus, etc., and to be more climate friendly, eco-friendly. Next. And I'm gonna introduce you. I'm gonna talk about the Good Food Fund, starting from 2018. In terms of the chef and the chef pledge. In 2018, 2019, 2020, we have organized these chef program. Cumulatively, over 400 talents has joined us. Online, there are over 100,000.
In 2019, we have the first press conference of the New Year's menu, because the New Year's time is the most dynamic and vibrant timing of a year, and we have selected 7 leading chefs to share their plant-forward menus. And in 2019, together with the Yale University, we have co-initiated the Global Plant Forward Forum, and we also have the communication and a visit at Yale, Harvard University, MIT, etc. In 2020, we have organized the first Good Food Designer competition, and we have online selection and offline finals. And we have over 400 people participated in the online selection, and there are 9 participants in the final competition offline. It is in Xinzhuang of Beijing, and there are 19 candidates, and they go to different households in Xinzhuang, in Beijing, so they have interaction with the local households. So it's not only a competition, it's the close interaction with the local community, the local people. So more people know about the cooking and the design of a plant-forward food. It can be very tasty, and they might not know that they can cook the food this way. So there will be a lot of inspirations for the local community. And in 2020, we have invited the chefs, and we also invited Paul, the founder of the Chefs Manifesto, and many chefs have signed the manifesto, and we also have established the Good Food Designer Alliance at the fund. So this is the first restaurant adopting the good food pledge, that is the Xiaolou restaurant, and it's established by Mr. Li Yan. I will not give the details because Chef Li Yan has been invited to the panel discussion later today. He will give more details. And this is the menu of our roadshow, and we also have the toolkits of the chefs. So no matter the plant forward forum or the chef forum, we can offer these tools and this content for the chef, and we will launch more electronic books like this in the future. So now let me talk about the future plans. We have a chef championship, we have a chef training, we will have a Meatless Monday chef engagement. We also will have an Eco Chef show. The chef championship, the goal is the same as the Eco Chef 2030, and our target group is the professional chefs and the people who love cooking, or the students in the culinary schools. And we adopt 85-15 principle and promote the plant-forward products. And we have the professional chef as the team leader, and they compete as a team together with the chef, the cooking lovers, and the students. We also have the chef training of both online and offline. For example, the knowledge of a food system and the 8 tracks of the good food pledge and food knowledge, the plant-based nutrition and the skills and the cooking trainings, as well as other activities relate to the animal welfare and plant forward. This is the Meatless Monday chef engagement. So we have established a team working on Meatless Monday, and the Meatless Monday chef engagement will have the ambassador of Meatless Monday, and we will have the menu, and we will include the caterers and the restaurants in our promotion plan. We will establish the vertical industrial alliance, and we will have a national and local communication forums and the learning opportunities. We also will provide information to individuals and groups. Besides the trainings, we also would like to give the platform to the chef. So we have the Eco Chef show, and we have the offline, the Eco Chef land-based work, and they provide the plant-forward food, prepare the food, and besides these caterers project, we also have the Good Food Summit and the menu design, and use seasonal and local food to reduce food waste. And we also will have the best menu that will be awarded and shared with the participants. And we also have the online work, and is respected to the animal welfare and good food principles, and they will select the local seasonal food, respect the diversity of the food, and promote the thinking about the transformation of the food system, the sustainable development. And last year we have the online New Year banquet, and we invite people to share their local ingredients and the plant forward menus online with other participants. And this year we will continue to work on this, and it will be the Meatless Monday this year, and we will select the Eco Chef to join us on our fund social media platform, and we want to have them as the KOL to influence more people. and we will help the chef to create higher quality content and, for example, make videos and showing the cooking of the healthy dishes, and these videos will be available on TikTok, Weibo, Kuaishou, or Baijiahao. And at the end, I really hope that you can all join us, the individuals, enterprises, or societies or organizations. Please join us so we can promote the plan forward menus in the industry, and we can lead the sustainable transformation of the food and beverage industry. For more information, you can check our WeChat account and our website. So this is the end of my presentation.
能听到吗？
可以。
Can you hear me?
我的演讲就是到这里结束。那下面的话呢是
So this is the end of my presentation. Next, I would like to invite my colleague Li Yihong.
Hello， 大家好。
对易红
Hi.
我介绍，我也介绍。
So please allow me to introduce Mr. Li Yihong.
易红的话，他是我们的
Mr. Li Yihong is the Executive Director of Biodiverse Ingredients Project of the Good Food Fund, and he is also the Director of Planning at the fund. So let's welcome Mr. Li Yihong.
不要放我的介绍，可以下一页。
The next page, please.
下一页，我们直接进入正题吧。放到下一页。
Next page.
大家好。
Hi.
我是易红。
I am Yihong.
和大家借助粮食系统。
It's my great pleasure to talk to you at the Good Food Summit.
那么其实谈到这个生物多样性食材呢，
And talking about the biodiverse food. And this is a very fundamental project at the Good Food Fund. It's like the Good Food Pledge or Meatless Monday. It's very essential. It's like the foundation. When we talk about a healthy diet, it's closely related to ingredients. So when we talk about sustainability, circular, plant forward, especially plant forward, we believe that the biodiverse ingredients is like the core of the core. According to the FAO, there's over 20 to 50,000 types of edible food, but now there's only 150 to 200 types of food frequently consumed by the human being. And after 1900, after the Industrial Revolution and the wars and the progress of civilization and society, 70% of the species just disappeared. In this era of internet and with globalization, we have noticed that the variety of food, especially the variety of a plant, is very limited. And 36% of the food we consume are actually the same. It's highly homogeneous, and this will cause the loss of the biodiverse ingredients. It's not the problem of distinction, is that in one region, in one area, we do not see this ingredient, and we do not consume this ingredient in our everyday diet. And the farming structure in the system, there's less and less these ingredients planted. Next page, please. Thank you. So this kind of monoculture has made the agriculture ecosystem very vulnerable. So if we talk to the people or the regions of, whose major income is from farming, they will have a thousand or dozens of thousands of acres for cropping, and they might only grow one or several variety. And these plants or crops are very vulnerable to climate changes and the insects and the disease. And this is very harmful for the ecosystem. Biodiversity is related to food safety, agriculture production, rural development, community development, economic resilience, and cultural development, cultural reservation, etc. Next, please. So biodiversity is really important. It's not only about food. It has a lot of other benefits. And we have the global pandemic, and this makes us to rethink about the wild animals and the consumption of the traditional ingredients. So with this opportunity, we can rethink and value our traditional ingredients. In China, we have rich resources of biodiversity, and the China government attaches a high importance to the preservation of biodiversity. And according to the State Council, the goal is by 2020, we need to control the biodiversity loss. And by 2030, we need to achieve effective protection of biodiversity, and the biodiversity summit will be organized. We have the Mom's Kitchen, we have Meatless Monday, we also have a Xiaolou restaurant, and we take Yunnan as the important base, because in Yunnan, there's a rich resources of biodiversity. We have a large variety of ingredients, and we have the Good Food Fund projects exploring the biodiversity in Yunnan. I will give you more details about the work in Yunnan later.
And we have this name, a central bank of the plant kingdom, which is backed also by Good Food Foundation and by the CDC Foundation. We mentioned about there are over 30,000 materials for biodiversity. We also pay attention to the local recipe, local wisdom, align ourselves with the SDG and also the Good Food Pledge. Want to tap into, collect, store to have a systematic collection of the material reflecting biodiversity. And also this is also to build a local network. Slow Food and has been Slow Food International has been also working with that. And to some extent, and they are echoing each other. And also we can work with the government, industries, NGOs to tap into the possibilities to build an overall ecosystem. And besides, we are leveraging Meatless Monday, as well as the ecological, the chef, and work with these projects. And so that we are tapping into different scenarios, applications, and its possibilities and value. And also biodiversity and its materials is deemed as a very important part. And we also to build a so-called a very important conservation area to build a network in Yunnan, where we have a lot of high biodiversified material to cover the community, even a farm. And we hope to build something like that, to build a network, and also to build a certification system at these protected area. And also, we try to done in a crossover manner. Multiple projects may work together with each other, and it can inspire different players, organizations for the brainstorming and the leadership. And also hopefully that, and we know the food material has very high value of commercial value, and we also want to attract the investors on social responsibility and influence. Work with Baidu search engine and TikTok, that by introducing this kind of influence, we can produce the internet-based content, and to promote that, and to trigger the thoughts protection from the general public. Next page. We have also a long-term plan, and we're talking about also the building the database, building protected area, certify that or qualify that, and to apply this agriculture legacy, and to work with the government of the top level design from Zhengzhou, Henan, the flooding area. We know that we pay a lot of attention to the protection, conservation, rescue from CBC, GDF. We also pay attention to that. And I want to build a connection across also the business. And next page. The next is that we have sorted out these chains related also to the food value chain, and including the material with biodiversity and the wet market and the chef. This is a very close relationship to each other. And food material can supply to the market. I can work with the small farmers, with also the chefs. It can help to educate and develop the consumers as well. We can build such a complete ecosystem. Next page. Yes. And also recently we have some plan. We just listed some of them. We'll work out maybe the books and build the menus database, as I said. And this is a very important contents to build this public content, knowledge, know-how. We're also doing something else. And we have also been working with the Good Food Pledge, and to select these programs, and hopefully the materials with biodiversity will be promoted for them to use. These are my basic sharings. These are some progress we have. And this is also what we have been doing. We write a lot of articles. It also covers a live streaming events. We reached some consensus and some intentional partnership, further partnership. Next page. We have just limited time. I may share very quickly. And another program. This is about their rescue kitchen. We have a lot of shelf, good food shelf, good food design. We are also wondering how we can let the chef to play their leadership. There are two disasters in China. One is the earthquake in Yunnan. The other is the flood in Henan, Zhengzhou. Many people may even have experienced that. I think we're talking about the earthquake in Yunnan. After the earthquake happened, our partners was actually in Dali participating a kickoff event. And this is a so-called kitchen for disaster relief. We think we can do something against that backdrop. And we work with the Foundation One. We are working there. There's a dedicated the settlement shelter, temporary shelter. We organized the chefs, and we're also very glad to invite the chef. They work with the local players, and we offer them, cook them after the disaster. And then all of these local people are very, very, very tired. So it's even they have limited access to food. The only what they can have is instant noodles, and they don't have enough maybe well-balanced nutrition. So our team worked with them, and we give them also the take into account their menu, take into account their psychological and physical health.
对，考虑到他们的一个身心的一个状况，所以到了这个地方之后，我们和当地的这个安置点的
And we work with the local settlement. We communicate with them. We spend maybe the lunchtime working with the temporary people at the temporary shelter.
马上结束，
在1分钟差不多吧啊。
我们还有2段
2 slides to go.
时间可能要抓紧了，谢谢。
好的，对，然后对，在这个地方我们就做了一餐这样的暖心饭。
This is what we have been doing over there. I remember it has inspired us.
来自于这样的一个
We can really feel at such a great place. There's a very big need of the food. We can also really feel they play such a great role. So after we have suffered from the flood in Henan province,
后呢，也就在7月底，
I think I remember at the end of last July, the beginning of last July, we have organized 4 teams of chefs. They enter the Xinxiang city and give at different the settlement places. We serve 500 people who suffer from disaster at a temporary shelter. We organize everything, the dishes listed here. These are we offer them by ourselves: kitchenware, the cooking utensils. We are serving the victims of natural calamity. The one is from our team, the other team is from Yunnan. They are offering the donation of the food.
那在这个半个月的时间呢，我们探索出了一套很宝贵的一套经验。
We tapped into a series of great opportunities, especially against the overall challenges we have, and also how to organize their food, and how we can work with them, with the local leaders, working with the local public welfare organizations, and how to secure its safe, to build also better with the psychological players. This is what we have been doing. We just tap into this field. That's the original beginning, starting of the so-called disaster relief kitchen, and it is very well recognized by the local government. The local government just visited us, and they just joined us together. Yeah, after this disaster relief campaign was over, we also hope to make it even better, to offer more players to help us including the leadership as well. And we are also considering the possibilities. And it's really also like what we have been doing to tap into more opportunities. And for all of these, food is really based on this is to offer the local food, the low seasonal food, and that's the core of our business. Not just to give them the supply of like the meat, fishes, but instead we want to give it a more sustainable concept.
谢谢，时间有限。
感谢一红。
Thanks so much, 一红。
那其实也是向大家介绍了，就是我们
I think you have introduced us.
生物多样性食材。
You have been doing a lot on the concept of biodiversity and you are communicating with that very well. And you are also gonna launch the ebook, etc. And you have shared with us your endeavors you have been making this year on the kitchen, reaching out to those temporary shelters where there was some earthquakes or other disasters. You may also launch that and put that into our chat room. You may stay tuned with our QR code. And we are looking forward to promote it together with you, and more people will join us. We need to move on to the next session. We're gonna invite Nick to play the slides. That's the discussion. No matter when we are talking about to secure the sustainable operation, select about the food diet, and as we are going towards a food-based diet is highly advocated by us, reducing environmental impact, which is becoming one of the key global trends. It has changed chefs' view on developing and designing the recipes menus. It will also motivate chefs to redesign social responsibility from designing their menus. More and more managers, chefs are really understanding we don't necessarily need to use the meat to cook the yummy food. If we can use the legumes, nuts, and even the traditional Chinese materials of food can cook something yummy, healthy, and sustainable.
And today we want to promote the plant forward. So plant forward focuses on the plant, but not only plant. We also have like the beans and nuts, vegetable oils, and the herbs and the spice. So in the next session, we have the founder of Xiaolou Restaurant and the special prize winner of the first Good Food Designer contest, Mr. Li Yan, and Ms. Li Yiwen, the co-founder of Plant Forward LLAB, and Ms. Gabby Lo, the nutrition specialist of Haidi Lao subsidiary, and Mr. Iskada Zaudi, academic director of Ultimo Master Gourmet Academy. And we will talk about the Plant Forward menu innovation, and we want to attract more participants to realize the value of the plant-based, plant-forward dishes, and talk about the directions for future development. And our first speaker, each speaker will have like 10 minutes to share their views, and then we have a Q&A session together. Our first speaker is Mr. Li Yan, and Mr. Li Yan is the most popular Western restaurant chef and in Guangzhou, and he is dedicated to promote good food, and he is also the winner of the special prize winner of the first Good Food Designer concept. And we also have a short video about the Xiaolou Restaurant before Mr. Li starts his presentation.
Hello everyone, welcome to Xiaolou. This is my partner Ben. Say hello. Okay, come in. And up there is our menu, which is based on plant-forward concept. For the local pasture, we do have some meat, but it's not big. Yeah.
So what's your standard for choosing your meat?
Well, standard is the animal must be treated fairly, which is we always say animal welfare. Yeah. Here we go. Here's our herbivore, which is one of my favorite part. And around here, totally about like 20 type of herbs, which is we can use. As you can see, there's a rose, there's a plum, there's kombucha, enzyme, a lot of them, pineapple, yeah. Here's the way to upstairs. Meet this Monday. Yep, it's such a big honor. And eventually they all will become my impression and ingredients for customer. Yeah, the reason I started my restaurant based on good food concept. Well, there are two reasons, I think. The first one, because the healthy problem become major problem all around the world. It's mainly about the animal production percentage compared with the vegetable. We can change the percentage of our plate, what they care more about what they eating every day, then we will make the world different. And I think as a professional chef, we cannot like focus on this area only. If as a professional chef, we're gonna work together as a community and to pushing this concept, we will do a lot of contribution to the environment.
喂，那下面的时间就交给李岩来
Okay,
分享。
now I will hand the floor to Mr. Li Yan, Chef Li, please. Can you hear me? Yes, yes. Okay. So it's my pleasure to attend this roundtable discussion. And you have seen from the video of the Xiaolou restaurant, and we are in business for like 4 months. By now, the progress is really on track. We have good ones, we have not so good ones. The good ones are like we have the plant forward concept, and this is very important in the catering service. And Xiaolou restaurant is the first restaurant of a good food pledge in China. We have more and more consumers know of our restaurant, and they show strong support to us. But we also have some concerns or some doubt. For example, some vegetarian consumers, they have some doubt about the plant-forward concept. And they believe there's still killing of animals because there's still animal product in the plant-forward menu. But this is not a barrier for us to move forward in the future. This makes me feel that there's a lot of diversity in the market or in the society. Me and my partner, my team will continue to deliver our messages clearly to the consumers. We don't want to make our Xiaolou restaurant as a label. We say we are a vegan-friendly restaurant or plant-forward restaurant, but we are not a vegetarian or vegan restaurant. We do mainly two things so that the consumers coming to our restaurant can feel our philosophy. First is the dish recommendation. We have a clear message about our dishes. We will explain clearly how this dish is designed, what are the ingredients in this dish. So the consumers understand the percentage of the animal and plant-based ingredients, 85 and 50%. And second thing is that in our restaurant, we have the documentaries playing. These documentaries are carefully selected by me and my team. It's about a healthy diet and sustainability, also environmental protection and animal welfare protection, etc. We have these documentaries playing in the restaurant for communication with our consumers. In this way, I hope the consumers get higher awareness of these concepts. So when they are dining in the restaurant, they might see something from our TV screens. And I really hope everyone can capture some inspiration or some insight that can generate a spark in their mind or down to their heart, so they can be willing to make even a small change in their everyday life. I believe the plant-forward restaurants will get better and better, including my Xiaolou restaurant. And I firmly believe our restaurant will be successful, and we will be a good example of plant-forward restaurants. And in the future, I will spend more time to talk to the chefs. I also hope I can help the chefs to change their mindset, and I also will be willing to provide support to the chefs if they want to change to plant forward. And I plan to have two actions in the future. First, as a chef, I will focus on dish design, menu design based on plant forward, because we are a restaurant. People come here, they care about the taste. And if we can offer good taste of the plant-forward menus, people will be appealed. People will be attracted to get to know more about your plant-based food. And the second thing I plan to do is to tell the story. First, I want to deliver the key message clearly. And also, when we try to create or design the dish, we want to explain the design philosophy or the cooking process clearly to the consumers, so that they know where the ingredients are sourced and what are the reasons of choosing these ingredients for a nutritious and healthy diet. What are the thinking of the chefs? I believe more and more people will join us in the future. We will make joint effort to support Plant Forward. So that's all I want to share with you at the moment. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Li Yan. So Chef Li is a old friend with us. And Chef Li shared with us why he started the first plant-forward restaurant in China. And he works with our Good Food Fund, and he joined our competition. And I have talked to Chef Li and he didn't do any promotion of his restaurant. After the consumers have tried their food, they refer and recommend more friends to come to their restaurants. So this indicates that the plant-forward menu can be very attractive, and the taste, the way of cooking, and the menu innovation are very important. And the chef is also very dedicated to design and improve these plant-forward menu. He also mentioned how to communicate to the consumers. First is to create a very favorable environment by playing the documentaries about healthy diet, environmental protection, animal welfare, etc. So this is a very good way of talking to the consumers. I really look forward to the future development of a Xiaolou restaurant. And I really hope that Xiaolou restaurant can be the example or role model so that more restaurants will join us. Thank you very much, Chef Li, for your sharing. And our next speaker is Ms. Li Yiwen, the co-founder of Plant Forward LLAB. Ms. Li Yiwen is the global citizen, and she has 17 years of fashion marketing experience in China and New York. And since 2012, she started her work regarding to the plant-based food, and she is the instructor of the Plant Forward LLAB and the co-founder. And let's welcome Ms. Li Yiwen.
Hello, 大家可以听到我吗？
Can you hear me? Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, one thanks to the Good Food Fund for inviting me to share my collaborations and partnerships in the space of plant-forward food education. As a chef educator, where I've been educating on food therapy and food prints in relation to human health and a planetary well-being system for the past 10 years. It's amazing to hear new voices and conversations in this space during the past couple of years as well, as we all need to learn this new food literacy language. So today I'm going to cover 5 main points and going to start with my advocacy work with the Chefs Manifesto Global Community of Eco-Conscious Chefs, where Paul Newham from SDG2 Advocacy Hub has previously spoken. We are over 1,000 chefs from around 90 countries working towards a sustainable food system with focus on United Nations SDG goals, addressing some key issues other than the 8 which comprises of the 8 thematic themes that Paul has mentioned. First of all, working on reducing food waste, which is a big issue we need to work on, as 1/3 of our food is either lost or wasted, and approximately 44% wasted at home. So imagine how much waste happens in the F&B sector. And we not only focus on promoting the use of plant-based ingredients, but also the importance of widening our tastes, flavors, and colors. And it's important for us to celebrate local seasonal abundance. So it's important to work with our local farmers, get to know what they're growing seasonally and regionally. And promoting biodiversity is a key part of my education, as China has one of the most richest biodiversity in the world, as the previous speaker, Li Yihong, has meant to protect it. And at the moment, I'm actually working on a short video for the Chefs Manifesto for the upcoming Agro-Biodiversity Congress in Rome, where I will be featuring our indigenous spaghetti squash, which is grown in Toming Island, only was from Shanghai, but a lot of people are not even aware of this squash. Another key aspect of our education is also serving nutritious food, As we know, food is medicine. And so we need to inspire chefs to cook healthier dishes, but also nutritionally balanced. And finally, it is also important we promote a sustainable agriculture, which means a farming methods that's regenerative, balancing our ecosystem. So as chefs or educators, we can introduce lesser known ingredients and bringing back ancient grains, beans and legumes, and heirloom veg. So next, I'm going to share a few things that I have participated in with Chef's Manifesto-led events and campaigns, such as 要回那个文章不是这个，还要再回一个，谢谢。还要再回一个，再 eat， 还要再回一个，再回一个，谢谢。Okay. Chef Manifesto-led events such as the 2019 Eat Food Forum in Sweden, which we have heard from the speaker Gunhild, who is the founder of the Eat Food Forum 3 years ago. And I've also participated with Chef Manifesto in the podcast series, such as the one on resilient and sustainable food crops, and as well as the UN's Act Now climate change campaign. And also recently celebrated World Food Day to also promote awareness on how food and agriculture can play such a vital part in our daily lives. So as chefs, it's important for us to bridge the gap from farm to fork, as Chef Lee just mentioned brilliantly just before. Okay, the PPT 麻烦转到那个 chef collaborations. Next. Next, yeah. Anyway, 我就继续讲，可是这个 slide 不对的，是要 chef collaboration, please. Yeah. So anyway, now I'm going to share more about the importance of chef collaborations and partnerships, because it's very important. We need to join forces to raise our voices. So please, the next slide with 大树五戒, that slide. Yeah, so we need to join forces to raise our voices through collaborations and strategic partnerships by working together, sharing best practices, learning from each other so we can grow together and make bigger impact in our communities. For example, I've also collaborated with a local restaurant, 大树五戒, on co-creation on the topic of energetics of food, because food can taste delicious, but it can also be energizing for us and healing for us. So we did a seasonal food collaboration. And I also have collaborated with Anteroom Boutique, Anteroom on a wine pairing event where we paired our plant-based creations with organic and biodynamic wines, and also collaborated with Chao Boutique Hotel in Beijing on how to redefine our health for the new year, where they invited me for a chef's table sharing. And recently for the Green Initiatives Food as Medicine Forum, I was invited to share my role as a chef educator in how food acts as a therapeutic tool as well in our health, as food can also replace prescribed medication, etc. And in last year, I was also moderator for Good Food Summit's Trash to Treasure session, where we worked with international and local chefs on how to create creative dishes using what would normally be thrown out. And I also have done short videos and interviews with different brand collaborators, such as Just Egg recently did a short documentary on China, where they made a short interview on using their products. And in addition, I also teach at corporate wellness programs and workshops. As you can see from the next slide, from this slide now, collaborators such as WPP, Alibaba, also teaching at schools such as the Waldorf schools or kindergartens. And also I was one of the educators for the Good Food Roadshow about 5 years ago, where we educated on the true cost of food, which many people would know about by now. And next is the first plant-based pop-up kitchen by Eat Just, which was held in Jing'an Carey Center just last year, where they launched their plant-based egg made from mung beans. And other work I do is also menu design with plant-based product partners. Next slide, please. Such as the recent collaboration with Health Food Chicken, which is plant-based chicken made from pea protein, where I designed 5 low-carbon dishes, and also collaborations with Haymate and Twinkling Power for World Ocean Day on World Ocean Day event. And I also do collaborations with wellness retreats, such as those that are working in spirituality of movement, such as yoga, Tai Chi, communities to educate about the importance of healthy plant-based dishes. And I've also co-authored in a couple ebooks, one of which is the Good Food Fund's Ingredients for a Sustainable World, working with Brighter Green in New York, where we launched a chef's toolkit, which everybody can download later if somebody gives the link as well, where it gives you lots of insights and inspiration on how to make a shift to use more plant-based ingredients and the importance of a sustainable food system. And finally, I shared content and recipes for Good Food Fund's Good Food Roadshow ebooks, which was just shown. After doing about 39 workshops in 20 cities in China and Taiwan, Hong Kong, we put together 2 ebooks where we shared recipes that I created, as well as vegan chefs from the US that joined the roadshow. And finally, the last thing I would like to share is something that's working in progress. Our 资本10亿 is also working on a book to celebrate the biodiversity of China, where we're going to be calling it China Future 50 Foods, to embrace at least 101 ingredients. And that's going to be the title, China Future Foods 101. And the subtitle will be The Kitchen is the New Medic. So pretty much, I just wanted to share these 5 main key points. And I think the next session will be the roundtable discussion, where I can share more about my work with health food as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Yiwen. 感谢易文。
Thank you, Evan. And thank you so much. You have been working with us from 5 years ago, as you have also mentioned, for the roadshow, for that recipe book. I also introduced that. I really like that book, My Good Food Recipes. And you have also mentioned you have joined SDG2 about the shelf manifesto and a variety of the important days. And you have partnered with the chefs from different restaurants to develop the plant-forward recipe. You work with also a plant-based meat brand on designing the recipes and the menus. And you focus on the biodiversity. You are about to complete another ebook. And you focus on many of the edible material from China. And focus on also the biodiversity. And during the roundtable session, where we discuss more about that. And we are very glad also to invite our next expert, Luo Xiao, who is interested in nutrition. And this is also a LLAB. This is this nutrition specialist from a Haidilao, the hot pot company subsidiary, who have published also the multiple books on nutrition. The floor is yours. 10 minutes. Thank you for introduction. And we have really learned a lot, and this is very important part. And this is a very interesting topic. For me, I have been dedicated to the food science and the nutrition. So this is my background. So I'm working as a branch under Haidilao, which focus on healthy food or future food. And for me, I'm in this field as a nutrition expert. And my topic is the dietary power of plants. So the keywords are plant and nutrition, and their relationship with our health. This is also high on my radar for a long time. So why plant forward? Yeah, the basic instinction is to learn from the past how we ate. In the past, we were evolving. As we are evolving, and I think we need to have our evolution on our awareness as well. We keep learning, we keep reviewing, and we can feel the presence so that we want to have a sustainable future, including sustainability and environment, as well as how we deal with the nature, how we deal with our planet. So I'm talking about sustainability on nutrition. So all in all, we can see that 50 years ago or half a century years ago, especially in China, we didn't even have enough energy. We cannot even feel the satiety. We lack everything. So 2 decades ago, we witnessed the massive industrialization in China. It looks like much better. And as we are progressing, we started to get the taste of so-called sweetness and abundance from nutrition's perspective. We have the carbs, enrichment of carbs, enrichment of the fats. So far, this is the status quo in China, and the scientific guideline of Chinese government also pointed out the contents. The Chinese face up one of the biggest challenges. In Western countries, they encountered similar problems ahead of China 10 years or 20 years, thanks to economic development and growth and the different dietary structures.
And at very beginning, that we get the richness of the nutrition, it can have a very good improvement of our health conditions. For example, the weight increases, also our average height improves, the average weight is getting better, and the average lifespan is getting better. So at the very beginning, it's a good thing because we get the stable source of nutrition and energy. But these changes about 20 years ago, because we have the explosion of energy versus slow improvement of nutrition, because our diet is not balanced starting from like 20 years ago. Like we say, there's no unhealthy food, there's only unhealthy diet. So the conflict is that we have the unbalance between energy and the nutrition. We have a lot of energy intake, but we do not have enough nutrition intake. So this is not sustainable for our health. At the current stage, if we want to improve our diet, if we want to have our body, our health to have a harmonious development together with the environment, we need to make it more sustainable. So when we talk about sustainability, is more about maintain the balance between us and the environment. We need to achieve the harmony. The human body and our health is also an environment system. We are part of the world or the nature because we are from this life system. And if we look at the human body, there's a physical and a mental status. And we can, it's the homeostasis, and it's a very important concept to nutrition as well. In this system, the factors influencing our mental and physical status are of many. Diet is only one of it, but most important factor. So diet is an important part of our lifestyle, and we need to have a effective management of the diet. We cannot simply say to the general public, eat well, then you get health. This is right, but not helpful. So as a practitioner in this industry, we need to shoulder this responsibility. I work in Haidilao. It is a very large catering service group, and we want to shoulder our corporate social responsibility. And the unhealthy diet is not because we cannot control ourselves, we are not self-disciplined. It's because of the society. For example, we go out to the restaurant for food. It's very difficult to select from the menu with a balanced diet. Or if we order food delivery, if we order some simple food, the mixture of the food is not reasonable, not healthy. So this is not because of the individuals, it's because of the society. It's not the choice of the individuals, it's because the society doesn't offer the sustainable nutrition or healthy diet to the consumers. So this is the equation: reasonable energy source. The energy source is not only about animal or plant-based, it's also about natural or processed food. And then we also need to get abundant nutrients. And we encourage these nutrients from food instead of from nutrition supplements. So this is the equation for sustainable nutrition. Next page, please. So next page, please. The slide just stopped. Okay, thank you. So I've talked about this equation of sustainable nutrition. So how to get this reasonable and healthy diet. Previous page, please, because I want to show the pan chart of this balanced diet. Sorry, there's the slides lagging behind. Okay, thank you. Yes, this page. So this page shows the micronutrients ratios. According to the researchers across the world, we can draw the similar conclusion, including in China. So what is the reasonable structure? What is the reasonable ratios? There are about 5% variance. The carbohydrate needs to take for 50 to 60%. Here I have a 60%. In the cities, we recommend 55% carbohydrate because there's a less the heavy energy consuming work in the cities, and the fat is about 30%. And this percentage refers to the percentage of energy we get from these nutrients. And for the carbohydrate is 55 to 60%. For fat is 25 to 30%. Protein is a stable micronutrients and is 15%. If we have a less protein intake, there will be risks. For example, it causes the damage of the muscle, it will cause the malnutrition. But if we have excessive intake of protein, because our body have a very stable need of protein, and is to have a stable reservoir of protein to maintain the normal movement of our organs, our muscles, and our system. So if you have excessive intake of the protein, it contains a nitrogen, so it has to be expelled from the system. And there's a chain of nitrogen. It has been mentioned by several speakers. So if we get the animal protein, it's not sustainable because the nitrogen is from the nitrogen elements of the soil. And the first step to consolidate nitrogen is by the bean crops. And they have the bacteria to convert the nitrogen from the soil into the plant, into the beans. And we have the nitrogen the nitrate, and the animals consume the plant, and then they convert the nitrate into protein. So we can get protein from both plants and the animals. The plant can also convert the nitrogen to protein with a different process. So if we have the protein from the plant, the environmental impact or cost is lower. But if we have excessive intake of a protein, it's very harmful for the environment. It's also harmful for our body because it takes our liver and the kidney to digest and to process the protein. If we have too much protein, it's too much burden for our kidney. And so we have to have 15% of the proteins, but there might be some variance between the fat and the carbohydrate. If you want to lose weight and lose fat, you can consume less carbohydrate. I cannot explore the details here due to time limit. And if we look at the breakdowns of these micronutrients, for the carbohydrate, 20% shall be the staple food, 20% beans, and 15% fine staple food. And this is recommended by a lot of guidelines. It helps to maintain healthy and promote lifespan. And we have some like sugar drinks, sugar-containing drinks, or rice, or chips. They are like a plant-based product, but they are not of a high quality because they are low-quality carbohydrate. And regarding to the protein, we encourage the balance between plant and animal protein. If we look at the diet of the Chinese people, a lot of protein is from the grains, but we want to encourage more proteins from the plant, especially beans, and another 1/3, about 1%, shall be animal protein. So this can maximize the benefits of the diet, and this is helpful for the consumers to understand the nutrition and the sustainable nutrition. Next page, please. So from the previous page, we have talked about the micronutrients. Why we have this breakdown? Because we want to fill in the gap. And the gap is we have excessive energy intake, but insufficient nutrition intake. If we want to get abundant nutrients, we need to improve the intensity of the nutrition. And there are mainly 3 types. They have different values. And the first type is vitamins. It might be lipid or the water soluble. And we also need to pay attention to the gut health, and the gut microbiota is very important for nutrition. And the plant-based food with a lot of evidence supporting the benefits of the balance in the microbiota in our gut. Another type is the minerals. We need to pay attention to the absorption of the minerals. We shall not rely on the mineral supplements. And the minerals of the food are mainly from the dark color vegetables. So we hope we can have a promotion of the dark vegetables consumption instead of to buy the artificial complements or the meal replacement for nutrition. And the third type is the photochemicals. And this hasn't been very well recognized by the general public, but this is very helpful for the intervention and the prevention of a chronic disease. So we hope we can get the nutrients from the natural plant. If it's a processed food, there's a mechanical processing, there's a heat treatment, and a lot of these photochemicals are sensitive to heat, and these antioxidants will be damaged. So we encourage people to take these very colorful natural plants. As a person working in the nutrition sector, we value the emotional value and the enjoyment. We shall not force the consumers to eat something that they do not like. If they do not enjoy this diet, it's not going to be valuable for them. So as a catering service provider, if we want to improve our offerings, we need to consider whether this is acceptable for the consumers. We shall not force the consumers to take it. Okay, sorry, Ms. Luo, there's only 1 minute left. Sorry to interrupt. Okay, no problem. And I will have one more slide. So this is a short summary. So this is about plant forward, and we want to reduce the animal products to less than 15% and deeply processed food to less than 15%, so that we can have a healthy, sustainable diet. Next, please. At the very end, I want to talk about the logic of our plant-based protein products. We do not only have plant-based meat, we have the development of all types of plant-based products, and we focus on the healthy plant-based proteins. And we start from the raw materials, and we have the research in the digestion process and absorption process, and we want to offer long-term nutrition and health to the consumers, and we cover a greater variety, and we want to be friendly to both the vegetarian consumers and the people who also want to have animal proteins. Next page. And here is some evidence to show why do we need plant-based proteins. And we need to have more social resources to develop protein-based products.
And it makes a lot of difference, especially it's the characteristics across the whole food system. So we research them and we offer them to consumers. It makes sense in terms of offer them a high protein controlled micronutrients, offer them plant-based protein alternatives, and also again unbinding proteins and some other fats. Next page. I think that will be my last page. Yeah, I think that's basically the end. Thank you very much. Thank you. So it is really very informative, and we do need really a workshop, and before we can have really deep dive into the details. And Gabby Law shared from a nutrition specialist to talk about the refinement of the carbs, industrialization of the fats, and more proteins are still animal-based. And you also take into account the catering sector will shoulder responsibility about offering more sustainable food. And last but not least, you also have introduced us plant-based food remains a very good solution It offers the high protein, controlled micronutrition, a alternative for plant-based protein, unbind proteins and some fats. Another important information is that natural food is the best. It cannot be replaced by actually some pro-health medicine. Yeah, we're very glad also to have our next speaker, Ultimo Master Gourmet Academy. I think Iskandar, Mr. Iskandar Zeldi. Yeah, and also Iskandar Zeldi has already completed his master in Switzerland, who also went to the US for the Johnson Wales University, who have a strong passion for culinary and hospitality service, who had accumulated a lot of experience in both the EU and the US, who have completed the internship in both Bellevue Palace and Ramadan Renaissance, who have served as the head of the Cedric Institute of Culinary Art, who have built multiple teams. Now the floor is yours, Saudi.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm going to share the slide now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to share some of the Ultimo's plant-based cooking curriculum and class. Ultimo itself is a chef academy based in Surabaya. We have currently 300 students on board, and we receive 100 students every year. In 2020, Ultimo begins to promote and incorporate more plant-based cooking into its curriculum and class lesson phase. Let me briefly explore the structure of the curriculum and class experience at Ultimo. The first 5 weeks of culinary art classes, all students or trainee chefs are exposed to a complete theory classes and the know-how of the culinary world. And this year, we will emphasize more on the importance of the plant-based concept. And the plant-based concept, we categorize here at Ultimo into 3 things. That's the plant-based cooking, plant-based food or plant-based diet, and most recent technology is the plant-based meat. Now, all trainee chefs at Ultimo must endure 16 weeks of complete culinary classes in first semester. Now, when I talk about 16 weeks, because we follow the government regulation of the Ministry of Education, and for the next 11 weeks after the week 5, because when on the first slide, I talk about the first 5 weeks of culinary classes, theory class. After the 5 weeks of theory class, they will get a hands-on practical sessions, and these practical sessions will include cooking involved in preparation of the food, and etc. And in terms of plant-based, and if this include cooking process of foods derived from plant sources such as fruits, vegetables, grains, pulses, legumes, and nuts, then I will say 10 to 20% of Ultimo practical lessons has implemented plant-based cooking in the past. Now let's talk about the plant-based diet or the plant-based ingredients. What can we eat on a plant-based diet? Here at Ultimo, we call it plant-forward eating habits, focus on foods primarily from plants. And I'm not talking only about fruits and vegetables, but also nuts, seeds, oil, whole grains, legumes, and many types of beans. But also, I would like to make clear here that Ultimo is not trying to alter anyone's mindset in becoming vegetarian or a vegan, but simply we want to introduce another healthy eating habits, and maybe reducing and not omitting animal meat intake in everyday diets. Now we come to the idea of plant-based meat. I'm sure everyone aware of this new type of meat substitute made from plants and manufactured and fabricated. Not only taste, but it also feel and appear right like real meat. Plant-based meats are healthier, of course, than regular meat, as they are considered lower in saturated fat. And they are more and more becoming popular in Indonesia. Currently at Otimo, we cannot produce our own plant-based meat, but I'm sure that we are heading toward that direction in the future. At the moment, for our plant-based meat class experience, we are using brands such as Beyond Meat, Alpha Foods, Omni Foods, and the last one is the Impossible Meat. And they are currently available in the market in Indonesia right now. And as maybe some of you know, that Indonesia has a large variety of heritage cuisines, which is delicious, healthy, but yet falls into the category of plant-based food. So in our classes of plant-based cooking, we intend to replace all meat in most of Indonesian cuisine that doesn't consider as plant-based food. And I'm sure all of you know the most famous Indonesian cuisine, which is called satay. This is actually our view at Otimo towards plant-based concept. There are pros and cons. And talking about the pros, one is they are definitely rich in vitamins, lots of minerals, contain lots of fiber, and also antioxidants. They are quick to prepare. They have a great positive impact towards the environment and reduces animal exploitations. And since they are low in cholesterol and saturated fats, but high in dietary fiber, they may prevent heart problems. But from all those pros, we also have the cons. They can be very perishable. And the most important one is that you might get deficiency in certain nutrients such as iron, calcium, and B12 vitamins, since these minerals found abundant in animals' protein. And also there's a big possibility that you don't get enough complete protein from plant-based diet, since plant-based proteins are incomplete protein source, unless they are properly combined. And there are lots of many things interesting that we can talk about this protein source combining theory and practical. Now to convince the trainee chefs about the importance of this plant-based, what we can do at Otimo is sometimes we do competitions. We ask them to create plant-based food, plant-based dishes, which is not currently available in Indonesia, and give them award for that. Before I wrap up all this presentation, I would like to show you two videos of what we do at Otimo for this plant-based cooking. I think that's wrap up my presentation, Cecilia. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chef Zeldi.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm very impressed with your video. Yeah, so many delicious food. I'm hungry.
Same here.
Yeah. 所以刚刚感谢那个 Chef
Indeed, I really appreciate Zeldi for your excellent sharing. Last year, Baltimore School has already included plant-based food into your curriculum and also to reduce the meat consumption. From your course and curriculum, I'm very, very impressive of developing your traditional Indonesian food and work out like a plant-based the edition and the satay. We have satay, chicken, beef. You have developed also the plant-based satay food. I'm so impressive of that. Now we will have a short discussion. Yeah, a quick discussion. So my first question may go to Zeldi, Mr. Zeldi. Since you mentioned that in your presentation, you introduced us about the plant-based food, and you shared with us a lot. And I think you also shared with us also about the pros and the cons and concerns about plant-based food. So when it comes to your curriculum design, do you have similar concern? Perishable, you mentioned it is very perishable. And also you're talking about incomplete protein. So you need a very good combination. We need to have a very deep understanding of the nutrition. So I think such a concern, is it only an obstacle for your curriculum, training curriculum, or these concerns poses a big threat for our sector, or pose a barrier for our sector? So in your curriculum design, have you taken into account any potential solutions to that? So I would like to invite you to answer the question and maybe try to answer that within 3 minutes. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Chef Zeldi?
Yeah, I can hear you. Is that a question for me?
Yes. Okay, I will repeat in English. Because we know from your presentation that you have some concerns about plant-based diets. Would it be an obstacle for the curriculum? Do you think there will be a solution for it? Is it only an obstacle only for the curriculum or for the F&B industry?
Okay.
So, yeah, you have 3 to 4 minutes to answer this question.
Okay. Now, if we talk about obstacle, I don't think there will be any obstacle for the curriculum, because like I said in the slide, we categorize plant-based into 3 things: plant-based cooking, plant-based ingredient or plant-based food, and the last one is the plant-based meat. If we talk about plant-based cooking, Otimo has been doing plant-based cooking since the opening of Otimo, so I don't think there will be a problem with that. In terms of plant-based meat, now plant-based meat are available in Indonesia market, so we can get them as soon as possible. The only thing I think, and I don't say this is an obstacle, but it's going to be a challenge, is to change someone's eating habits from animal protein to plant protein. Because like I said, there are lots of things that you have to consider when you want to change your eating habits from animal protein to the plant-based protein. So I don't think there'll be any obstacle. Maybe for the industry, the only obstacle will be the availability of this plant-based meat is still expensive in the country which is not originated from. So if you're going to change your menu into this plant-based meat, it's going to cost you a lot. And as you know, F&B industry, you need to consider your costs. You need to consider your pricing strategy, and I think that's the problem that the F&B industry have to change, have to face. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. 那我们下一位的话可以
Thank
问一
you
下
very much. And the next question goes to Luo Xiao. So Chef Xiaodi have his answers. And so for Miss Luo Xiao, my question for you is that Haidilao is a famous hot pot chain store and a very popular brand. So for developing the plant-forward menu, what is the goal? What is the target consumer? How to balance between business value and the social responsibility? Thank you very much, Cecilia, for your question. And we actually do not have a specific strategy targeting this market. We are a large-scale Chinese restaurants, and we really hope we can promote the healthy diet. So we will include this element in our corporate strategy. We will develop the healthy food and we will include the healthy food on our menu. We have our own restaurants. We also have our supply chain. We also want to do something on the supply chain so the food can be promoted in the food and beverage system. We can change the structure. It's not only a product of food we sell within our group or in our restaurants. So we want to have independent healthy food research, especially the plant-based protein. Thank you. So do you have any comments on the question we asked Chef Xiaodi? My question to Xiaodi just now.
Okay.
Is that
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I just turned on the interpreter.
I'm sorry. I'm just asking.
Simultaneous interpreter channel in Chinese. So you in English. So can you can learn what we are talking.
Yeah, I just turned on the interpreter and I miss Chef Lo's question just now.
OK， 那罗想你再重复一下你。
好的。好的，我就是说，实际上
So the moderator is just asking whether Ms. Law has anything to add on your answers, anything from her side. And at Haidilao, the restaurant, the healthy food is not only a product sold in the restaurant, they also want to do something to change the food and beverage industry on the supply chain. So we are the restaurant, but we want to do more development and research into plant-based product so that we can have more consumers to change their diet, change their eating habits.
Okay, I agree with you. This is why at Otimo we also developed this curriculum, so all the trainee chefs can develop their own version of the plant-based food.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So
Thank you.
好，那我们就是可以继续就是我们的
Okay, let's continue. Here I have a question to Yiwen. Are you online? Yes. Hi. We have a question for you after listening to your presentation. You mentioned that you work with the chefs from different organizations. So do you have any success case to share with us how to balance between business and the social responsibility? So do you have any example? You have 3 to 4 minutes. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Recently, I have worked with how food is a peanut protein product, and it is to replace the chicken meat. I help them to develop 5 menus. and they have a low carbon emission from the raw material. They have a healthy cooking style. They do not use oil frying, and they have a low content of oil. And we start to appreciate the natural taste, natural flavor. We use the naturally fermented ingredients to adjust the flavor. Some of these commercial condiment is not healthy, a lot of additives. So we want to have this kind of a natural condiment. This is very important for our nutrition as well. We know that people pay a lot of attention to health, and there's a huge public health burden because of the chronic disease. So with balanced nutrition, with the plant-based product or whole food, we can improve our health. We can consume more micronutrients, and we encourage variety of colors and a variety of nutrients. This also is beneficial for the planet, and this encourage the farmers to grow a variety of plants like the vegetables and the nuts, and this is also very helpful for the nuts, for the insects and the worms, which is help to maintain the health of the soil. And we also encourage local and seasonal food, and like a congee. And we have the millet. We can make a congee out of the millet. We can also make other food out of the millet. So there are a lot of possibilities of mix and match. And also it's important to tell the story, so to attract the consumers. And we use the ingredients the consumers know, but we use it in a very innovative way that the consumers might not being aware of. We use Chinese wisdom. We use the global citizen culinary innovation, and we do not sacrifice the taste. It's very tasty, so it's like a win-win-win concept. And we really hope that more chefs can be engaged, and we can offer more inspirations to the chefs so that they can design more plant-based menus. We can offer the sustainable ingredients and safe condiments and balanced nutrition. So the menu is good for us and good for our planet. Thank you very much, Debbie, Yiwen, for your answer to my question. So with the chef's menu, we can offer tasty dishes. We can also take care of our environment and the planet. I really admire your concept. The win-win-win is great. And my last question goes to Chef Li. Chef Li, for the plant-forward menu, so there's only your Xiaolou restaurant who is the plant-forward restaurant. So what is the feedback from your consumers about the plant-forward menu? And if you want to build the restaurant into a role model or example, I guess it will be very, there will be a lot of challenges. I'm sure that you want to be successful. And so I want to ask, what is the feedback from your consumers? And second, how to build your restaurant as a role model? What's your first step? What's your plan? Thank you for your question. And that's also what I want to share with the audience today. And it's very important to check the response of the market. And in Dali or in the market across the whole country, it's very polarized. And some restaurants offer like the very different variety, and another is the restaurant offer the vegetarian or vegan food. So there's nothing in between. And as I get to know of the plant forward concept of a good food fund, I'm very confident and I'm very strongly motivated to work on this, because I want to have some transition. I want to have something in between of the two polars. And by now, most of the consumers coming to our restaurant say they have learned new knowledge and new philosophy, and they really respect and agree with the plant forward concept. But there are also some consumers feeling difficult to change their eating habits. They eat a lot of meat, they have very heavy taste, a lot of flavor or condiment. It's very difficult for them to change their eating habits immediately, but they agree that our philosophy is right, and they feel it's very surprising to see our innovation of the plant-forward menus. And in Dali, in this local community, more and more people know of our Xiaolou restaurant, and they like us because we offer the opportunity to try a new cooking methods, a new cooking philosophy. And so they are not against us, even though they are the vegetarians, and they are willing to try our meals. And we have a lot of communication. And in this process, and we have encountered some challenges, mainly two. First is the challenge for ourselves. Like I changed my philosophy to plant forward. So in the process of creating or design the menu, I need to change my mind. And now, before I design any dish, I ask myself whether I can make it vegetarian or vegan. If not possible, then I can choose to add some ingredients which is in line with the plant forward.
We find the cost of cooking is higher. We spend a lot of time on R&D, spend a lot of time, and the human resources and the raw material are costly. Consumers sometimes say pure vegetable food, vegetarian food is cheap, but actually that's totally not the story. And we still need to raise the awareness. We haven't done any very commercialized promotion from our restaurant. We don't want to focus too much on building a profit-making business model. That's not our intention. We hope to leverage Xiaolou Restaurant as a platform or window where average consumers, average even chefs will know more about plant-forward food. For me, plant-forward food opened my eyes. I hope Xiaolou Restaurant can open the eyes of the others. It's also a platform of food education. It is still newly opened. Have we involved into different events, sessions? I may try as much as I can possibilities of raise the awareness and the influence of Xiaolou Restaurant. For example, for disaster relief, and also with the summer vacation, there will be some campaigns with the kids. Invite kids to Xiaolou Restaurant for hands-on experience and some simple food education, and to have more communication with the visitors and talk to the local farmers, the owners of the local farms, the average farmers, to have some link connection with them, help them to absorb some excessive agricultural food of that season. We are still in infancy. We are on our journey of exploration. yeah, but I hope we want to set ourselves as a role model. I'm confident that Xiaolou Restaurant can be a successful case, and I will adhere to promote such a mindset. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Li Yan, the founder of Xiaolou Restaurant. After your sharing, I feel it is very likely that your story will be successful, and you have a very strong confidence. And you mentioned about platform, and also Good Food Fund will serve as a platform to help Xiaolou Restaurant as you are building Good Food pledge aligned restaurant. And we are willing also to involve and partner with you, including all of the other panelists the same. Yeah, since I also shared our next plan of working with chefs, programs with chefs, and including the catering, the training, and including the institutional catering and the chief leadership meal catering, including Meatless Monday, to connect with, reach out to more chefs and move forward. Okay, last but not least, I want to invite all of you to use just one sentence to share, just one sentence as you are promoting the plant-forward menu and the dishes, no matter in your restaurants, in your academy or beyond. What are the key determinants to promote the concept of plant-forward? Shall I go first? Okay, Mr. Lian, you can go first. What I can say in one sentence: eat less, eat better. That very much recently, I keep thinking, eat less, eat better to promote it. Yiwen? What's in our mind is that try to bring back our food, our materials. What about you, Gabby? I want to use sustainable nutrition to support you with a fair, better environment to create a sustainable ecosystem. Thank you. Zaudi?
Healthy, sustainable.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. OK，那感谢所有的那个今天不好意思，先感谢一下我们。
First of all, I really appreciate all the panelists. I'm very excited, and the half-day session is really informative. It is even beyond my expectation. So we really have so much to cover. The time doesn't allow that. It's already the lunch time. It's already a little bit behind the schedule. So I will also wrap up quickly. In the future, hopefully the upcoming programs of Good Food Foundation, we want to invite you, all the panelists, to join, and also including the previous speakers. We're looking forward to inviting you to working with us on promoting the plant-forward menu to be more available and accessible in all the restaurants and institutes. We really appreciate your sharing, which is very thought-provoking, inspiration triggering. You have shared with us at international horizon, at different regions, and some of you have given us many specific the programs, initiatives like Meatless Monday, how you work with the chefs in the restaurants, and in the field of the animal welfare, healthy diet, from the change of mindset change to behavior. You have also shared with us very specifically on the details on the innovation, on the micronutrients, on the balance of the business value, and also social responsibility. Yeah, for the catering industry as a whole, it can be a very relevant reference to all of us. And for us, we also hope to promote it, and we hope to connect with more organizations to join us. Before we call it the end of this session, the forum session, I would like to open your video to have a virtual or cloud group photo. A cloud group photo, thank you. And next, we'd like to invite our colleague to send a feedback form to live streaming and Zoom. Really appreciate that. After the cloud group photo was done, I would like to ask you to fill in the feedback form, and Nick and Adaf will take the photo, who will maybe count it down, give us an opportunity of count it down very quickly. Good food, very quickly. Good food, 粮食 is the Chinese pronunciation of good food. I'm waiting for you guys open the camera. We'll give you guys maybe 10 seconds. I'm about to 3, 2, 1. We are about to take photos. Maybe you can wait a little bit. Wait for another 2 seconds. Okay, it's done. It's already. Shall we start or is it done? 粮食, let's say good food. 粮食, 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 粮食. Okay, thank you all. Okay, that's the end of the morning session, and I will ask you to fill in the feedback form. Thanks again for all of you, all the audience. We'll have sub forums, upcoming forums, starting from 2 o'clock. It's about the urban food environment. Tomorrow morning, it will be food education. Thank you.